In the last class, did we complete up to Mandelblum? मुझे डायग्राम दिखा दीजिए ऐसे थोड़ा सा, डायग्राम, लास्ट डायग्राम जो भी किया है. अच्छा, so continental convergence we have completed as it seems. Transform also we have completed. Acha, we were doing. So just help me. Just that's okay. Help me. Did you understand the faults formed by continental transform? वो क्लियर है ना, जो फॉल्ट बन जाता है. मैंने शायद एग्जांपल भी दिया होगा, सैन एंड्रियास फॉल्ट. ठीक है. एंड देन ओशियानिक ट्रांसफॉर्म which is formed perpendicular to the central fault of the mid-oceanic ridges. That much is clear. ठीक है. And we saw the examples also. I think that was the diagram which it was showing. टेक्निकल टीम, ये कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा क्या? यस, वाईफाई शायद ना, लेकिन वाईफाई पासवर्ड तो चेंज नहीं हुआ है. नहीं, आपको नहीं बताना है ना. अगर आप ही से तो छुपाते हो बेचारे, उनका आधा लाइफ आप लोगों से पासवर्ड छुपाने में गुजर जाता है. ओके, यही डायग्राम था लास्ट, है ना? कुछ ऐसा देखा था हमने. दीज आर द ट्रांसफॉर्म फॉल्ट अलोंग द ओशियानिक. क्लियर है? आई थिंक ऑनलाइन, क्योंकि लास्ट क्लास ऑनलाइन लिया है तो मुझे भी वैसे ऑलमोस्ट यही डायग्राम लास्ट मैंने क्लोज यहीं किया है आपका क्लास, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू कंफर्म दिस इज वेयर वी लेफ्ट, राइट? And we did write about the fact that we do not get the oceanic continental transforms. वो लिख लिया है हमने. That's the last part. Great. Good. चलो. So ये ब्लैक ही रखना है, वाइट कर सकते हैं ना? ब्लैक ठीक है, मतलब ये जो भी कलर है, आप लोग कंफर्टेबल हो इससे? मैम, कैन यू जस्ट आस्क द ऑनलाइन पीपल इफ दे आर कंफर्टेबल विद दिस कलर, सो दैट बिकॉज इट्स मोर फॉर देम टू सी. इन लोग को तो दिख ही जाएगा. कैन यू जस्ट, डू यू हैव एन ऑप्शन ऑफ आस्किंग द ऑनलाइन पीपल? नो, यू डोंट हैव. सो ऑनलाइन पीपल, हेलो. कैसे हो आप लोग? ठीक ठाक हो? हाँ, some students I do see. So is this visible? The color is okay with more. अच्छा, कलर ये पूछने पे ना आप लोग, जैसे ही मैं डेमोक्रेटिक होता हूँ आप लोग ज्यादा डेमोक्रेटिक हो जाते हो. ठीक है, मतलब एकदम अनार्की मचा देते हो क्लास में, तो ऐसा नहीं करना है. यस सर, परफेक्टली फाइन. गुड. सो right, so now it's time, right? Let us start. So hopefully as most of you would be able to recall that till now, because I think it's more than a week that we ended the last class, so just a very quick recap. We have completed the starting with divergence, all the three types of divergence, right? We have also, अच्छा अगर मैं आप लोग को ना देख के थोड़ा देर इनको भी देखूं तो मतलब ऐसा बुरा मत मान जाना कि सर ऐसा कैमरा कोई क्यों पढ़ा रहे हैं, हम इधर ही हैं सर, ऐसा नहीं थोड़ी देर में हाथ हिलाने लगना. सर हम भी है. मुझे पता है आप हैं. उन लोग का भी कंप्लेंट होता है, सर आप लोग सिर्फ उधर जो बच्चा है उनको देखते हो एज इफ कि हम फ्री में, है ना, बाहर से विंडो शॉपिंग कर रहे हो. ऐसा नहीं है, आप सब इधर है. ठीक है. सो डाइवर्जेंस ऑल द थ्री टाइप्स, देन कन्वर्जेंस ऑल द थ्री टाइप्स, देन ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑल द थ्री टाइप्स. दिस मच वी हैव डन. And basically now if you try to integrate everything that we have done, can you just ask someone to get me a globe as well? Globe. There is one, I think, in the other room. Yeah. So if you just try to integrate जो हमने किया है, right? Finally the picture that you get is, I'm so sorry. think I did put the ringer off, but still. So, as I said, the Earth, we have the whole lithosphere, right? Lithosphere is the top layer. I hope everyone understand the difference. अच्छा, lithosphere और crust के बीच का difference किस को अभी तक clear नहीं है? The difference between lithosphere and crust, because then I'm going to point and ask. ठीक है, तो अभी आपका चांस है, पूछ लो. Everyone is clear? Lithosphere और crust का difference. हाँ, very good. ये तो अगली बार सर ऐसा उंगली करके बोल देंगे तुम बोलो तो फंस जाएंगे हम, तो आगे ही बैठे हुए. ठीक है, सो 2 people, आप दोनों को क्लियर नहीं है? ठीक है, जितना क्लियर है वो बताइए. व्हाट डू यू नो? व्हाट इज लिथोस्फीयर एंड व्हाट इज क्रस्ट? उतना बताओ. हम क्लास में आए ही क्यों? ऐसा ही सवाल आ रहा होगा मन में, क्यों आए? ये तो फंस गया आगे. बोलो, डू यू रिमेम्बर समथिंग? What is lithosphere, by the way? Lithosphere, yes. ऐसा नहीं, क्लास में ऐसा ही हल्ला नहीं बजाना. हाथ खड़ा करके, yes. Crust and upper part of the mantle make the lithosphere. That's how it is made. ठीक है? What is a cake and how a cake is made are 2 different questions. है ना? So what is a cake? My question was, what is a lithosphere? What is the lithosphere? Lithosphere is the physical classification. I hope you remember. Physical classification tha. In what context or in what background? Lithosphere means the layer of rocks, hard rocks. So lithosphere is the top hard rock layer of the earth. ठीक है? Top hard rock layer. उसका नीचे क्या है? Layer का नाम क्या है? Asthenosphere. What is the state? Liquid. Semi-liquid. मैंने ये बोला है. Plastic. It is soft solid. The way you have chairs made up of plastic, है ना? Plastic chair होता है, वो soft solid है. वो hard rock नहीं है. Something like that. Okay, so asthenosphere is the region below the lithosphere. Now, what is the thickness of the lithosphere? 10 to 100 to 200 kilometers. 10 below the ocean, 100 below the plains, 200 below the mountains. इतना याद आ रहा है अभी कुछ? ठीक है, मैं ये क्यों करा रहा हूँ आपको? Because these are very basic questions which I'm still getting from people. ठीक है कि सर क्रस्ट उसका नीचे सबडक्ट हो जाता है तो किधर जा रहा है? First you have to be clear कि सबडक्ट हो क्या रहा है. Now what is the crust? Crust is the top layer of the earth made up of सियाल एंड सीमा. सब कुछ मिला दो. सिलिका एंड एल्यूमिना मोस्टली, therefore we call it as सियाल. याद है ना? So crust is the top layer. And what is the thickness of the crust? अब lithosphere is this thick, 10 to 200, and crust is 10 का उसका crust का thickness 5 to 30 to 70. So obviously if crust is only 5 to 30 to 70, crust इतना ही है and lithosphere इतना बड़ा है. अरे समझ में? That's the thickness of the lithosphere. Do you understand this? Everyone is clear? So crust is the, so if I give you an example in terms of something that you have seen, it is like the whole lithosphere is like the cake that you eat. The crust is like the top creamy layer or the top chocolate layer. कई बार होता है ना, कुछ कुछ केक का टॉप के ऊपर एक चॉकलेट लेयर होता है. ठीक है, सो क्रस्ट इज लाइक दैट. ठीक है, दैट इज ऑल्सो हार्ड, बट क्रस्ट इज जस्ट द टॉप हार्ड लेयर, वेयर एज लिथोस्फेयर इज द होल हार्ड केक. ठीक है, ऐसा समझ में आ रहा है? क्लियर है? नाउ व्हाट आर द प्लेट्स मेड अप ऑफ? द प्लेट्स आर नथिंग बट ब्रोकन पार्ट्स ऑफ क्रस्ट या लिथोस्फेयर. Plate is the broken parts of lithosphere. I think आप लोग ना रिवाइज नहीं कर रहे हो. घर पे भी गप्पे मार रहे हो, क्लास में भी गप्पे ही मार रहे हो. थोड़ा रिवीजन जरूरी है. If you do not revise, फिर बाद में रिग्रेट करोगे, है ना? तो इसीलिए इट्स नॉट these classes you need to know the background so as to go ahead. अगर बैकग्राउंड भूल जाओगे बार बार तो फिर, और मैं इसलिए ये करा रहा हूँ बिकॉज क्लाइमेट, द नेक्स्ट थिंग, द मोमेंट वी आर डन विद दिस लैंड पार्ट, यू गो टू क्लाइमेट. And in climate, if you do not remember your first and the second and the third and the fourth class, then the next 15 classes will be useless. क्लास में बस बैठा रहोगे, यहाँ देखते रहोगे. ठीक है, ज्योग्राफी के साथ ये प्रॉब्लम है और यही उसका स्ट्रेंथ है. इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड द होल थिंग, और यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड ऑलमोस्ट एनीथिंग. आधा आधा नहीं चलेगा कि अकबर भूल गया कोई बात नहीं, बाबर से काम चला लेंगे. ठीक है, या शाहजहां तो याद है. यहाँ पे अगर आपको पहले का नहीं पता है तो बाद वाला पार्ट ऑल्सो बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट, राइट? सो प्लीज डू रिवाइज, प्लीज. आई स्टिल रिक्वेस्ट यू, एंड प्लीज कीप दिस इन योर माइंड, एंड प्लीज डोंट फॉरगेट योर फोकस. IAS बनने आए हैं, दोस्त बनाने नहीं आए हैं. ठीक है, ये दोस्ती किसी काम नहीं आती. जो दोस्त है वो पहले का है. यहाँ का दोस्त कोई बचता नहीं है. कुछ दिनों में उनके साथ compete करना शुरू कर दोगे जिस दिन उनका हो जाएगा और आपका नहीं होगा, फिर अवॉइड करोगे. ठीक है, सो कीप इन माइंड व्हाई आर यू हियर. मैं बार बार ये बात इसलिए बोलता हूँ बिकॉज यू पीपल हैव पेड हार्ड अर्न मनी ऑफ योर पेरेंट्स. ठीक है ना, मैं तो अमीर होता जा रहा हूँ, इंस्टीट्यूट भी हो रहा है. आप गरीब ना हो जाओ. ठीक है, तो प्लीज कीप दैट इन माइंड. इफ यू आर हेयर, बी हेयर. 2 घंटा में ऑल आई आस्क इज घर जाओ, 1 घंटा पढ़ो, और अभी कर सकते हो. Gradually your load will increase because now I have got lot many calls from your batch also where people are asking should we start with optional sir, अभी और क्या क्या करें, right? I am telling them right now it is time to focus on geography or GS. After 3-4 months your load will double. 3-4 महीने में आपको ऑप्शनल का भी लोड आने वाला है. ठीक है, तो अभी फोकस कर लो प्लीज. एंड दीज आर द मोस्ट कॉन्सेप्चुअल थिंग्स in whole of your UPSC preparation. If you ask me, sir, things which are very conceptual are things like understanding the polity connect. Economy is very conceptual. Geography is pretty conceptual. यहाँ याद करने से ज़्यादा समझना ज़रूरी है. ठीक है, हिस्ट्री आप रट सकते हैं, वो भी कॉन्सेप्चुअल है अगर आपको उसका सीक्वेंस समझ में आ जाता है. हु डिड व्हाट, बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट हैपेंड. ठीक है, तो वो लिंक्स हैं, बट उसमें स्टिल यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. साइंस ऑल्सो यू हैव, इट्स अ मिक्स, राइट? टर्म्स यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. यू कांट, अब बर्ड है तो उसका नाम और इकोलॉजी एनवायरनमेंट वो रटना पड़ेगा. वहाँ कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं बट स्टिल रटना पड़ेगा. ज्योग्राफी में उतना रटना नहीं है, एंड इट्स अ वेरी कॉन्सेप्चुअल थिंग. सो प्लीज फोकस इन द क्लास, एंड दीज आर न्यू थिंग्स, सो यू माइट गेट लॉस्ट, यू माइट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ठीक है, आई वांट कि आपको क्लाइमेट समझ में आए, राइट? आई डू नॉट डू इन माई क्लास थिंग्स विच आर वेरी सिंपल. ठीक है, वर्ल्ड इंडिया पढ़ा दो, वो पढ़ा दो. These are relatively less conceptual things. अब इंडिया के अंदर लोकेशन है तो है, बट क्लाइमेट समझना पड़ेगा, है ना? लैंड समझना पड़ेगा, लैंड फॉर्म समझने पड़ेंगे. ठीक है, तो वहाँ कॉन्सेप्चुअल चीज़ों पे थोड़ा टाइम लगाते हैं, बट देन यू हैव टू कोऑपरेट. इफ यू डू नॉट, ये सब मैं आपको ऑनलाइन नहीं बोल सकता था. मैं बोलता था बट मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता आप लोग, बट बिकॉज आई कांट गो ऑन आस्किंग यू क्वेश्चंस देयर ना. इतना क्वेश्चन मैं नहीं पूछ सकता हूँ. यहाँ मैं पूछ सकता हूँ, सबसे पूछ सकता हूँ, ऑनलाइन पीपल ऑल्सो. ठीक है, सो योर रिएक्शंस आर गोइंग टू डिटरमाइन कि हमारी क्लास में मैं कितना एंथुजियास्टिक होऊंगा और आप कितने एंथुजियास्टिक होगे. 2018 का एक बैच था. स्टार्टिंग 5-7 क्लासेस इतना डल की पूछो मत, हिलते ही नहीं थे एकदम. स्टार्टिंग का बैच, प्रॉब्ली प्रिटी न्यू कमर्स लाइक यू, और कुछ करते ही नहीं थे क्लास में. नो आंसर्स. मैं पूछता रहता था, कुछ बोलते नहीं थे. फिर मैंने भी चुपचाप से डिक्टेशन चालू किया. 3 दिन सिर्फ डिक्टेशन. चौथा दिन सब हाथ खड़ा करके, सर ऐसा मत पढ़ाओ. मैंने कहा आप ही आंसर नहीं कर रहे हो. ठीक है, एंड आफ्टर दैट दे पिक्ड अप, एंड दे पिक्ड अप लाइक एनीथिंग, राइट? तो आपके आंसर से ही मैं, और आपके अच्छे आंसर से आई गेट द फीलिंग कि हाँ ये लोग भी मेहनत कर रहे हैं. जो नहीं पूछ समझ में आता है, नाउ यू हैव द, ऑनलाइन में नहीं था, बहुत लोग कंप्लेन करते थे, सर वी डोंट गेट द आंसर्स, दिस दैट. अभी तो है ना, अभी पूछो, हाथ खड़ा करो, मैं आंसर ऑप्शन दे रहा हूँ आपको. ठीक है, मैं लास्ट क्लास, मैं आपका क्लास से हर बार लास्ट में ही निकलता हूँ. तब तक मैं इधर ही खड़ा रहता हूँ जब तक कि आप सब ना चले जाओ. सो ओके, पक्का, गुड. सो क्या पूछा था लास्ट? प्लेट किसका बना है? लिथोस्फेयर या क्रस्ट? लिथोस्फेयर, ठीक है ना. क्रस्ट, प्लेट, लिथोस्फेयर, क्रस्ट. अभी भी डाउट है? क्रस्ट है लिथोस्फेयर है? लिथोस्फेयर. कॉपी टर्न करिए, जहां प्लेट टेक्टोनिक स्टार्ट हुआ है उसका बिगनिंग में ही आपका कॉपी में लिखा हुआ है. आपका कॉपी में लिखा है, मुझे पता है, मैंने ही लिखवाया है. आपने पढ़ा नहीं है, ठीक है. और ऑलमोस्ट आधा प्लेट टेक्टोनिक खत्म हो चुका है और अभी भी नहीं पता है. सो द प्लेट्स आर नथिंग बट ब्रोकन पीसेज ऑफ द लिथोस्फेयर. Right, the lithosphere is like the big cake enveloping the whole earth, and the plates are like the pastry cuts that you make out of the cake. केक को लेके काट देते हैं तो पेस्ट्री बन जाता है ना, उसी तरह हर एक प्लेट जो है वो उस पेस्ट्री का जैसा है. एंड द प्लेट इज एंड द लिथोस्फेयर इज लाइक द होल केक. ठीक है. आई गेव अनदर एग्जांपल, एग एंड एग शेल. राइट, सो इफ यू हैव अ बॉइल्ड एग, राइट, तो ऊपर का जो हार्ड कवर है, शेल, दैट इज लाइक द लिथोस्फेयर. एंड इफ यू जस्ट हिट इट स्लोली विद अ स्पून, इट क्रैक्स. So those broken pieces are like the plates. These are what plates are. And then what happens with the plates? The plates are moving. Why? Because just like the boiled egg, the inner part of the egg, just below the hard cover, is like that white. जैसा egg का white होता है ना, asthenosphere is something like that. It is like that. It is soft, but it is solid. The way the egg is. If you boil it, तो egg का जो अंदर का part है, it becomes whitish. It is hard. But it is not as hard as the cover, है ना. So वैसा ही हो जाता है. That is like the asthenosphere, and in that asthenosphere there are many movements, convections. Those convections are moving the plates. Thanks to that movement, you have three types of movements: convergence, divergence, and transform. And because of that, the plates are moving, interacting with each other. ठीक है. And those interactions are giving us divergence, convergence, and transform movement. That's what we have done. यहां तक हम कर चुके हैं. ठीक है. एंड ऑल द फॉर्मेशंस. राइट, सो बेसिकली इफ यू सी व्हाट यू हैव डन इज यू हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द मूवमेंट्स ऑफ द प्लेट्स एंड द फॉर्मेशंस ऑन द मार्जिन्स ऑफ द प्लेट्स. अभी तक हमने सिर्फ दो प्लेट मूवमेंट का बात किया है. ठीक है. टू और मोर प्लेट्स दैट आर मूविंग एंड ऑन देयर मार्जिन दे आर फॉर्मिंग समथिंग. ठीक है. सो इफ सपोज दिस इज वन प्लेट एंड दिस इज अनदर प्लेट, सो दे आर मूविंग. Let us say this is the margin. So whether they are moving this way or they are moving this way towards each other or they are moving this way. Three types of movements. And because of those three types of movement, what is happening on the margin and near the margin? This is what we have done. यहीं तक पढ़ा है ना अभी तक, right? So this is something that is already done. Now we are going to come to the next part, which is talking inside the plate. What happens because of movements in the asthenosphere inside the plate? Inside means in the inner region of the plate, right? So there might be something, happening in the asthenosphere, some movement because of which, suppose this is your asthenosphere of the earth, something like this. ऐसा है, sorry, this is the lithosphere, ऐसा. ठीक है. And suppose this region is the asthenosphere. Right, and let us say in the asthenosphere you have some, at different places you have rising convections, right? So let us say at some place it happens in such a manner, and rather than a convection there is some other movement because of which inside the plate what other formations are happening. So now I'll give you the next heading. What all you have done is called as interplate tectonic activity. Inter means between. जैसा आपका इंटर स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशन होता था और इंटर कॉलेज कॉम्पिटिशन. इंटर मीन्स व्हाट? between, so it's more than one. ठीक है. And if you have a competition which is only within your school or within your college, intra. Right, so now we are going to do intra-plate tectonic activities. ठीक है. Intra-plate, is this clear? So you can write this line that till now we have completed the interplate Ma'am, we can ask them to get it because in some of the classes we will require the globe. So anyways, we will be requiring. Yeah. Till now we have covered the interplate tectonic activities. Interplate tectonic activities. Leading to divergence, convergence and transform type of movements. Divergence, convergence and transform type of movements. Okay. And below we will be covering, below we will be covering intraplate tectonic activities. Intraplate tectonic activities within bracket mantle plume, M-A-N-T-L-E, mantle, P-L-U-M-E, plume. That's another name of intraplate tectonic activity. Okay, mantle plume activities, also known as geological hotspots. Geological hotspots. G-E-O, geological hotspots. Mantle plume activity, also known as geological hotspots. Now, why have I added? You might normally come across this word hotspot, but I have added a word geological. Why? Because in ecology environment also you have hotspots. Right? You might have heard. We have a ecological hotspot. Western Ghat is a ecological hotspot. So ecological hotspot is with respect to the living forms and the biodiversity that you find here. Geological hotspot is with respect to the mantle plume activity, which is the magma activity. So these are two very different hotspots. Okay? This one you will only come across in either your mains or prelims exam and all that. Geography related hai completely. This is not related to ecology environment. Ecological hotspots will be covered in ecology environment. That's a very different topic. Okay? So don't confuse. Right? Just for your knowledge, you should know that wahan pe bhi ek hotspot aayega. So if somebody asks you what's a hotspot, don't start giving this answer. You should ask which one. Okay? Okay. Good. So now let us talk of this mantle plume thing. I'll take you back to the examples that we have done earlier. I hope everyone remembers the boiling pot or the boiling container in which we had put fire below. Aisa kuch. Right? Heat. And in this container we had put some liquid. Right? And because of the heat, this liquid was rising and then cooling down, coming to the sides, and this was the convection, right? Heating convection or heat convection. And we saw that on inside the earth also we have such heat convections. Okay? So such heat convections where the magma is rising at certain places, it is just rising like this, right? And where it rises, it goes just below the plate. So just imagine that the room that you are sitting in, okay, suppose you are sitting in the asthenosphere. Imagine karna hai, because geography is pretty much imagination also. So just imagine you are in the asthenosphere and this thing on top is the lithosphere. Okay? So if a convection has to rise in this, the convection can, suppose starting from where I am standing to the last student in the end, right? Like this, there is a convection rising in the whole room. Right? So asthenosphere, you have the convection rising and the convection goes up to this lithosphere thing. Below it, it diverges and takes one part this way, takes the other part the other way. That's the convection. Right? ऐसा imagine कर सकते हैं ना? ठीक है? So it is something like this in that big container. Right? And because of that, you are getting all the interplate activity is because of this. We have already covered. Clear? Now, new part, right? So अब फिर से focus करें. What was the reason of this convection? The reason of this convection was the radioactive material inside the earth. We have already written, लिखा हुआ हमारा copy में, ठीक है? So that is heating up. The radioactive material is doing the heating part, because of which the convection is moving, okay? And because of which the material inside the asthenosphere is just doing the convection. But it is also possible that in that asthenosphere, now just listen carefully and I'll give you the example, you will understand. That it is also possible, let us talk first here. It is pretty much possible that in the container, rather than only being water, let us say there is some oil stuck at the bottom of the pan. Somewhere here, thoda oil, fat, kuch butter, you know, some vegetable which you are cooking in that thing is there. So that becomes the impurity. That means the container is not pretty clean, right? Or that whole material is not pretty clean. And then you heat it up, right? Put fire. What will happen? The water will do its own convection. But what will happen to these things stuck at the bottom? They will tend to melt. If it is ghee or butter, they will melt. Will they mix with the water perfectly? They will rather rise. They will gradually rise and come to the top. And if it's a big container, you can see at different places, you know, this might be floating on top. Is it imaginable? Simple hai? Imagine the same thing inside the asthenosphere. Because it is not necessary that the material in the asthenosphere is a perfectly uniform material. It might be that at some places there are some material which are not as perfectly uniform as the rest of the material. हो सकता है? Let us say at some places you have a heavier metal, right? Or you have a lighter metal, right? Or you have some lighter material. Because Earth's interior is not 100% uniform. है ना? कोई भगवान ने चम्मच मिला करके घुमाया तो है नहीं. It is still mixing and it is still doing the activities. ठीक है ना? So inside the earth also, it is pretty much possible that I'll show you the diagram directly. That will help. See this diagram. Okay. Now in this, you have this part as the lithosphere and this is the asthenosphere. Okay. Now it might be that inside the asthenosphere, at some places, you have some impurities or something which is non-uniform, not as uniform as the normal asthenosphere material. ऐसा हो सकता है? Just like the pan thing that we talked of. हो सकता है ना? And when this will heat up because of the radioactive material, what will happen? It might not perfectly mix. It might not mix with the asthenosphere material. Then what will happen? This will tend to rise. Okay. So it will go on rising. As wherever it is, it will just rise there. Like this. Okay. Wherever it is, it will just rise. Is this okay? Lighter material rises or perfectly fine online. So as it will rise, it will just come to below that lithosphere. Right? And then what will it try to do? This is also only the lighter material will rise, relatively lighter. The way the lighter convection is rising, here also the lighter part, once it melts, then the lighter part will rise and the denser part might sink down. So as the lighter part rises, what will happen? It will just go below the plate, and let us say it hits the plate in the middle of the plate or somewhere inside, not on the margin, but somewhere inside. So suppose my hand is the plate, and this is the rising convection and it goes on rising, this is the rising mantle, this is the rising thing, mixing, and then it will go down and it will hit. What will it do? Crack, right? But will it break the plate into two parts? Is it as big as the convection? No. It is something like, just imagine that the same room where you already we have imagined this convection. Just imagine that somewhere here you have some big material lying and that is rising. So when it will rise, right, or let us say in that corner, you have some material which just melts and rises. So when it will rise, it will just go to the top. Will it be able to break the whole plate? It will just make a hole in the plate. Imaginable. So it will make a hole and from that hole it will erupt, right? So it's not that the plate gets broken into two parts, it's only that the plate gets a hole, and wherever it gets a hole, magma will erupt. So you will have volcanic activity, right? But not the central fault type of volcanic activity where the plate got broken into two parts and the whole thing, you had the mid-oceanic ridge formed and the central fault formed and the magma came out. No, you will just have small places like mountain, you know, let us say some hole, big hole, मतलब ऐसा hole नहीं है कि वो 1 centimeter है, even that might be 100-200 kilometers, right? And from that magma will come out. That's it. Imaginable. So if I go on drawing in this diagram itself, what will I get on top? अभी होगा क्या? This magma will erupt, and this was one plate. ठीक है? So on this plate, like this, you might have eruptions, and wherever it erupts, there it will form this thing. We'll see what kind of formation it is, whether it is horizontal, whether it is vertical, which means whether it is very light as the lithosphere magma, or it is as dense as the asthenosphere magma. We'll see that. Don't worry. Okay, but hopefully you understood the concept that you will get a volcano. Now the nature of the volcano will depend on the magma. That we'll talk. Okay, but is this much clear? Pakka? Very good. So anyone has a doubt, please ask me. Online people, you also. Any doubt? Tries to come out perfectly fine. Any major doubt? Crack only, perfectly fine. कोई doubt out है तो बताइए भाई. Yeah, perfect. No major doubts, ma'am. In case there are, just right. So perfectly fine. So now the next part. इतना तो समझ में आ गया. I'll dictate. Don't worry. I'll dictate the whole story in the end, right? And you will write it point wise. So basically, what we understood is that I'll give you those points. If there are any major doubt, you let me know. In the asthenosphere, we might have some non-uniform material randomly distributed, right? That is one. So that material is this at the bottom. Because of heating, that material might melt and rise. The lighter part will rise. Okay, so the lighter part tends to rise. This is also clear. As the lighter part tends to rise, it will just go below the plate and crack the plate rather than break the plate. Crack means just a whole kind of a thing. Break means into two parts. So it will not break it. It will just make a crack. And from that crack, magma will erupt. Okay. So if I consider this whole thing as one plate and the magma rises like this, so it will just crack here, and let us just imagine. अच्छा ये अच्छा बना भी हुआ है. So just imagine. This is like the volcanic eruption. Can you imagine that? ये दिख रहा है ना, तो ऐसा एक volcano बन जाएगा. Something like this. Clear? Very good. So this was the first part of the story. Now the second part. The second part is we have to understand the nature of the magma. What type of formation will it do? So I'll come to that, and there is one more third part. Let me come to the third part first, and then the nature of the magma and the formation we'll do in the end. Okay. The second major part is while this magma is rising, while in your container, वो जो container था, ये वाला, while this is rising, this convection is also taking place, ना? ऐसा तो है नहीं कि water convection will stop, water convection will also continue, and this will also tend to rise and come to the top. ठीक है? So same ways, in this diagram, these convections will also take place, the bigger ones. What will they do to the plate at the same time? While in this plate, you know, something is cracking here and magma is coming out, this plate will also continue to keep moving thanks to the convection below it. है ना, ये plate भी तो move करता ही रहेगा. These plates will not stop because we have not said that these convections will stop. So while this is cracking here, this plate will also keep moving. Can you imagine this? है ना, simple सा चीज है. So this will also keep moving and this will keep hitting from below. So basically now when it is hitting from below, will this also shift? It doesn't. For the ones who have this doubt in the mind, this doesn't. Because this magma is rising from this place, right? What is moving is this part, the diverging part of the convection. है ना? The far going. But this magma will not go away. So because it is rising from deep inside, so it will keep rising at the same place. So just imagine my finger to be that rising magma and this thing to be the plate. So basically what will happen is that this will keep rising like this, but this will keep moving above it. Clear? Because of this, let us say one formation. After that, that formation will remain there. So imagine this pen is the formation. Okay? And this thing has gone. Now when this moves away, what happens? The formation moves away with the plate, but a new hole might be created. At the new hole, another formation. Then that second formation will also go away. Then third formation, fourth formation, fifth formation. Do you get it? So this way, both the convections together, one will make the formation, the second will move the plate. The bigger convections will move the plate, and the smaller rising magma. Now this is what we call as mantle plume. They are the plumes in the mantle. Plume means bubble. Right? So it's like a bubble kind of a shape. Plume is an English term which means a bubble kind of a shape. Okay, so mantle plume is nothing but bubble type of rising magma in the mantle. So these are mantle plumes and this is the big convection. Okay, so in the convections itself you will have, within the convections you will have the rising mantle plumes. The plumes will make the formations and the convection will move the plate. Clear? ये second part भी clear है? Any major doubt? आराम से पूछो, मतलब घबराओ ना. I know this is new to you. Clear? पक्का? बोलो. हाँ जी, क्या जा रहा है? ये नहीं जा रहा है. ये जा रहा है. ये नहीं, मतलब इसको फिक्स करके नीचे से पूरा ऐसा मूव कर दिया. ऐसा नहीं मूव करना. हाँ, पूरे पे जाएगा. नहीं, पूरे पे मतलब अच्छा ओके. जैसा ये प्लेट है, ठीक है. सो लेट अस से वन फॉर्मेशन दिस. ठीक है, ऐसा यहाँ एक फॉर्मेशन बना, फिर ये आगे मूव कर गया, तो ये एक दूसरा फॉर्मेशन, तीसरा फॉर्मेशन, चौथा फॉर्मेशन, ऐसा. क्योंकि ये वाला पार्ट तो मूव नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है, ये तो मूव नहीं कर रहा है ना. आपने मम्मी को घर पे सुइंग मशीन से कपड़ा सिलता हुआ देखा है? आपका कपड़ा नीचे मूव करता है, सुई वहीं रहता है. ठीक है, तो क्या करता है कपड़ा पे? मल्टीपल होल्स, है ना. ये उसी को उल्टा कर दो, सुई नीचे. आज जाके मम्मी से मशीन लेके पूरा उल्टा करके गोल गोल घुमा देना. ठीक है, पूछना क्या है? प्लेट टेक्टोनिक समझ रहे हैं. आईएएस बनना है, नहीं बनना है? मम्मा भी कुछ नहीं बोलेगी, बोले कोई बात नहीं, इतना फीस दे दिया, एक मशीन भी जाने दो. ठीक है, ओके. सो होपफुली क्लियर. आ गया समझ में? क्लियर? एनी मेजर डाउट? नन? ठीक है. सो टू पार्ट्स डन. यस दिया, टेल मी. वर्ड्स नहीं बोलना है अभी. अभी से फॉर्मेशन. अभी आपको कैसे पता आइलैंड बनेगा? हो सकता है मैं उसको फ्लैट फैला दूं, है ना. आगे नहीं भागना है क्लास में, साथ साथ चलना है. कभी माउंटेनियरिंग करने गया तो ये याद रखना, कभी भी ग्रुप से आगे मत भाग जाना. आईएएस भी माउंटेनियरिंग ही है. ठीक है, ये 100 मीटर रेस नहीं है कि सबको छोड़ के आगे भागना है, साथ साथ चलना है. आइलैंड आर्क्स हमने अभी तक किया है फॉर द कन्वर्जिंग प्लेट्स. ठीक है, लाइक दिस नहीं, अभी नहीं, वहां पे मत जाओ. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, यू डोंट नो दैट पार्ट. ठीक है, इट माइट डिफर एट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस, देयरफॉर. ठीक है, तो आप बोलोगे कुछ, मैं हाँ करूंगा, दूसरे के दिमाग में एक नया इमेज बन जाएगा. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए अभी होल्ड करो, आ जाएगा. क्लास आज खत्म हो जाएगा, डोंट वरी. ये वाला पार्ट ओके. क्लियर? क्लियर? पक्का? ठीक है. सो दो पार्ट क्लियर है. फर्स्ट इज हाउ द mantle plume is rising. Second is the plate is also moving as the mantle plume rises. The mantle plume rises because of the material, additional material. The convections make the plate simultaneously keep moving. Thanks to that, the mantle plume makes not one but multiple holes on the plate, and from those multiple holes, one by one material will keep coming out. So first one hole, material comes out, formation is there. What formation we'll talk? Second, the plate moves. Second hole, second formation moves. Third hole, third formation moves, and it keeps moving. ठीक है, इतना clear है? Very good. Now the third part. What type of formation? The what type of formation will come from what type of magma? So we have to understand the magma here. That magma will tell you what formation you will get here. ठीक है, so आगे बढ़ें. And then you want to write in the end, everyone, Online people also? Clear, sir? Sir, please you tell it in Hindi. अच्छा, Akansha, you please translate it in Hindi. अपने आप करिए. They make the, okay, no doubts, things are, volcanic mountain will be formed. आगे भागने का ही घाटा है. Yes, it is possible to crack surface perfectly. No, it's not possible to break the surface. Jyoti, no, not Jyoti. कौन है ये? हाँ, Jyoti. It's not possible to break the surface. It will only make a hole or crack in the surface. So the whole thing will not break. There might be holes in that. ठीक है? Very good. That's it. So does it become a chain of formation? Because these are doubts which keep coming from other students, which might be your doubts also. So does it become a chain of? फिर से वही chain. Neha, hold on. अभी नहीं. ठीक है? Good. Good. So dictate last में कर लें, चलेगा? Because once you understand the whole thing, आप अपना दिमाग में while I'm dictating, you can revise also. ठीक है? Now the last part. The last part is the magma part, right? So what kind of magma comes out in this? ठीक है? We have to understand. Okay. So when you talk of the magma coming out in this, till now we have seen two types of magma. One, we call this one as acidic, ठीक है, which was due to lithosphere melted magma, right? याद है? Lithosphere melted magma, and the other one was basic, ठीक है, basic magma. Now in basic magma, अभी मैं फिर से इसका further division करने जा रहा हूँ. So please see, all of you. The basic magma, we have seen just one type. अभी तक जो आपने किया है, ठीक है, that was just one type, right? Because in basic you have two types of magma. This is new to you now. Till now I have told you basic magma. Now I am telling you basic magma itself is of two types. ठीक है? The one that you did was the asthenosphere rising convection magma, right? This was the magma because of which you had the convections. हमने जो पढ़ा है अभी, right? Done earlier, so you can write that. Done earlier. This also done earlier. ठीक है? Which were these two magmas? One was this one, the rising convection magma, right, which is rising and making the whole convection. The second was where the lithosphere sank, melted, rose. And this was not only here, lithosphere melt यहाँ पे भी हुआ था, because the block slightly adjusted and the lower parts of the blocks melted. That is also lithosphere melt. ठीक है? Now the third type of magma is this magma, the mantle plume magma. है ना? Right? Because this is not the same material. This is neither this material nor that material. This is a new material. Right? So this is the third type of magma, the mantle plume magma. ठीक है? So should we write? यहाँ पर ही the third type of magma we have is the mantle plume magma. Right? This is new. New. अच्छा ये new लिखिए नहीं तो फिर बाद में confusion हो जाता है. So this is the one that you are doing now. ठीक है? Now the way we have organized, if I ask you which group will be lighter and which group will be denser, अच्छा basaltic कौन सा होगा इसमें से? The whole basic thing will be basaltic, whereas this one will be andesitic. Clear? which one will be lighter in color? The acidic, whereas the whole basic will be darker, right? So this is how we have to understand. But then why is there a difference between these two? I'll give you an example, you will understand. Just imagine this is like the salt water and this is like sweet water. ऐसा imagine करना है, कर सकते हैं ना? So this is like salt water and this is like sweet water. Within sweet water you can have very sweet and less sweet. हो सकता है ना? तो ये क्या है? ये very sweet है, which means very basic and very basaltic. This is less basic, less basaltic, but it doesn't become acidic. Less sweet का मतलब salty नहीं होता है ना? मान लो आपको कुछ पीना है, ड्रिंक है ना, आपने बोला आज थोड़ा मीठा ज्यादा पीना है. So what do? You add more sugar, so it becomes more sweet. And let us say you have sugar problem like me, so then you will say कम sugar डालो यार. But adding less sugar does not make it salty. ठीक है? So this is also basic, but this is less basic. That is clear है? So let us write that also. So this is more basic and this is less basic. The basic one was coming from deep inside and hence this was denser also. I hope you remember which is denser. The basic group is denser. The acidic group is lighter because this is coming from lithosphere melting, whereas that is coming from asthenosphere material. So वो जो mantle plume material है, even that is asthenosphere material only ना. It is not lithosphere material. It might be less dense, but it is not as light as lithosphere. Do we get it? So this one is denser, right? But if I ask you out of these two, which will be more denser? The more basic becomes. So you are writing the characteristic. More basic, more denser, whereas the other one will be this side. Less basic, less denser. Do you get it? ठीक है? So जितना भी वो basic का character था, basaltic magma, all the characteristics this magma will also have, but it is only that it will be slightly less. So slightly less basic, slightly less denser, slightly less fluid. That was more fluid. It was spreading more. The basic magma earlier जो हमने किया है, this magma was spreading more, है ना, horizontally. This will spread horizontally, but it will not spread as much. It will spread slightly less, but not as less as the acidic magma. So acidic magma gave you something like this. Basic magma gave you something like this. This will give you something. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा, मतलब not exactly like this, slightly high, but not like this. So it will be something in between. So this magma is nothing but slightly in between, but on the basic side. आ गया समझ में? है ना? क्लियर है? जैसा आजकल आप लोग देखते होंगे, कुछ है बीजेपी सपोर्टर्स, कुछ है कांग्रेस सपोर्टर्स, कुछ है, एक तो न्यूट्रल है. मैं न्यूट्रल का बात नहीं कर रहा हूं. इज दिस न्यूट्रल? हाँ, ए पॉलिटिकल मैग्मा है ये? नहीं, ये भी पॉलिटिकल मैग्मा है, बट ये किसी एक साइड थोड़ा सा है. सो यू नो, यू हैव पीपल हु आर स्लाइटली, नहीं हम कांग्रेस को भी सपोर्ट नहीं करते, बीजेपी को भी नहीं करते, हम कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी को सपोर्ट करते. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा, मतलब थोड़ा सा बीच में है, आप टाइप, है ना. अभी आप है, कुछ दिन में तुम हो जाएगा, फिर तू तपाड़ चालू है. ठीक है. So do you get it? ठीक है. So you have left wing and you have right wing and then you have central and then you have slight left and then you have slight right. ये सब होता है पॉलिटिक्स में कलर्स. उसी तरह मैग्मा में भी है. ठीक है. So this is basic but it is slightly less basic, slightly less basaltic, slightly less denser, slightly less flowing. All those characters. Is this clear? ठीक है. So if we make the formation of all the three, what will we get? अब इन तीनों का फॉर्मेशन बना के देखते हैं, राइट? फॉर्मेशन दैट विल गेट यू एन आइडिया. सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ फ्लो, इफ वी राइट फ्लो, बिकॉज दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट वन हियर. इन टर्म्स ऑफ फ्लो, दिस विल गिव यू मोर हॉरिजॉन्टल. कैन वी से दिस इज मोर हॉरिजॉन्टल? दिस इज लेस हॉरिजॉन्टल. हॉरिजॉन्टल बट लेस हॉरिजॉन्टल. लास्ट वन वर्टिकल. So these three types of formation you will get. Please do write all this in your copy, because this magma story I am not completing. I am not giving you all the characters. Once you understand half the characters, the other half you can figure out क्या होना चाहिए. This is something like in between, but it is slightly on the basic side. It's not on the acidic side. It's not also middle. ठीक है, ये basic का side ही है. ठीक है, right? So this is the third type of magma, which will be slightly less denser, less basic, less horizontal, moving, spreading. So flow or spread. ठीक है, and hence if we see the formations, what type of formations will I get? In this I got mid-oceanic ridge, MOR, याद है? Please do draw MOR. In that one, the acidic magma, what did we get? Vertical volcanic peaks, right? So here we got vertical volcanic peaks. I'll give you two names for this, right? The way you have the name there, MOR, है ना? MOR. Here the name is stratovolcano. We call it as stratovolcano. Stratovolcano. Shukra Jupiter. Okay. So this one is stratovolcano, also called as composite cone. Composite cone. And what is the shape? The shape is like this. ठीक है, stratovolcanoes or composite cone. There's another one, I'll talk of that later. अभी नहीं बात करेंगे उसका. ठीक है, ash and cinder cone भी होता है ये. Right? So all these vertical volcanic peaks are, right? लिख लेते हैं, कोई बात नहीं. It will help us later. Ash and cinder cone. Cinder cone. So these are the three vertical peaks. Okay. Right? Ash and cinder, stratovolcano or composite cone. It's the same. So strato or, this is or, the same names. ठीक है? So they are the same types. Right? Now, what is this third one? इसका क्या नाम है? In between. This one. Less horizontal. This is something like ठीक है? So if you see in terms of shape, like this. Right? ऐसा है. This is one shape of it. This shape we get on, please do write, on ocean floor or continents. On ocean floor or continents you get this shape. We called it as shield volcanoes. Shield volcanoes. Shield volcano. ठीक है? This is the fifth type. Shield volcano. And where are they formed? If the mantle plume is rising over ocean floor, which means over ocean crust. So if the magma comes out on the ocean crust, oceanic lithosphere, you will get a shield volcano. ठीक है? If the magma comes out on the continent crust, sometimes you get the shield volcano. ठीक है? But on the ocean you always get shield volcano. Right? So ये लिख सकते हैं आप. On ocean floors or continents, on ocean floor always, and on continents sometimes. Right? On continents sometimes you get shield volcano. ठीक है? Whereas basalt lava plateau or basalt lava province you get mostly on continents. So this magma mostly on continents, gives us ये एकदम लास्ट में आप लोग को दिखाई दे रहा है ना, राइट? ओके, बसाल्ट, लावा, प्रोविंस और प्लेट्यू. ठीक है, प्रोविंस और प्लेट्यू आर नॉट टू फॉर्मेशन, द सेम थिंग इज समटाइम्स कॉल्ड एज प्रोविंस, समटाइम्स कॉल्ड एज प्लेट्यू. वील डिस्कस, डोंट वरी, बस ये नाम लिखते रहना अभी, राइट? सो द फॉर्मेशन we call as basalt, lava, province or plateau, mostly on continent. So when this magma is coming out, the mantle plume magma, when it is coming out on the continent, it is mostly forming basalt, lava, plateau, and sometimes forming shield volcano. ठीक है? So on the continent, sometimes shield volcano, mostly. If that magma is coming out on oceanic crust, always shield volcano. That's what you have written. ठीक है? Just cross check. Is this much clear? ठीक है? So when the basalt, when the mantle plume magma arises on continent, sometimes shield volcano, mostly basalt lava, and if the same magma comes out on oceanic crust, always shield volcano. Is this clear? Now what does the basalt lava plateau look like? Shield volcano का तो आपने डायग्राम बना लिया है, this one. The basalt lava plateau looks something like this. This is the plane. Suppose this is the old plane, right? Old plane over which the formation is there. So this is old plane, right? Which was earlier there. On that you have the basalt lava plateau. This is the basalt lava plateau, something like this. So in continent, normal regions, basalt lava plateau will form like this. Basalt lava plateau. So old plains means on the older plains, new formation has happened. Okay? So the older plain is like this, and on that new formation has happened. This is called as the basalt lava plateau. ठीक है? Clear? I hope most of you are clear between what is a plateau, mountain and plain. ये तो clear है ना? Plain is normally ocean level, right? Plateaus higher. They might be 500, 800, 1000, 2000, 4000 like the Tibetan plateau. Tibetan plateau has an average height of around 3500 to 4000 meters above sea level. ठीक है? तो उतना ऊंचा plateaus भी हो सकता है. And normally you might have plateaus which are 600, 800, 1 kilometer high. ठीक है? Is this clear? But plateau is a flat region. It's a flat region, but it is high. And mountain is normally those conical peaks. Clear? ठीक है? Good. So hopefully ये clear हो गया, right? So now are you clear what type of formations will I get with the basalt lava plateau? आपका question थोड़ा अभी समझ में आया? So in some cases you will get shield, where you get the shield volcano. There you might have, in the ocean we'll see what type of things, and then on the continent what type of things, and where will I get those plateaus. Clear? So let me take you to this diagram. अभी इधर आ जाइए और आप ही बताइए that suppose, okay, let me rub this. Suppose this was ऐसा ocean, oceanic region है ये ऐसा, ठीक है? So this is the ocean part. Let me rub those. ऐसा ये सब. बाकी सारा कुछ पढ़ने का जरूरत नहीं है, मतलब the more you read, the more you might get confused. तो इधर उधर भी ज्यादा मत पढ़ो. Just focus on what I am talking of. ठीक है? So suppose this is the oceanic, this is the ocean water, and below the ocean water, this is. So what type of mantle plume eruption is this? Seafloor or continental? Seafloor, oceanic crust. So in this oceanic crust, when the magma rises, what type of formation should I expect? Shield volcano. मतलब ऐसा बनना चाहिए. Shield volcano means neither flat nor, right? But some of the highest formations of volcano are shield volcano ones. Why? It is like the pyramid. ठीक है? कुतुब मीनार ऐसा पतला सा है. You can't make it too tall. But the pyramids, because of a bigger base, you can go on increasing the size. अरे समझ में? Right? Now you might ask me, sir, Mount Everest तो ऐसा दूसरा peak है. Mount Everest is not the highest peak on the earth. It is the highest peak on the continents. ठीक है, the highest peak on the earth is from the ocean floor at the Hawaii Islands. Right, it's a shield volcano formation. The Hawaiian Island formations, right? आपने अगर जीसी लियोंग बुक पढ़ा है तो जीसी लियोंग का if I'm right chapter, that volcano chapter, Mauna Loa and Kilauea नाम का 2 peaks given है. ठीक है, those are the highest peaks from land, from ground up, but that ground itself is below the ocean. ठीक है, so from sea level Mount Everest is highest, but from lowest level if you see floor, the highest peaks are in the Hawaiian Island and they are shield volcanoes. ठीक है, why? It's a pyramid structure, something like this. The shield volcano gives you a more stable structure. ऐसा vertical होने से ऊपर का part doesn't become stable, it falls, it erodes. Right, the slopes are more vertical, so it breaks and erodes very fast. Gentle slope, so it doesn't break and erode easily. आ रहा है समझ में? Erode is a new word to many of you, but I hope everyone understands weathering, erode मतलब break होना. ठीक है? So the shield volcanoes can give you very high peaks also. Right? So when you get the shield volcano from the ocean, right? What might happen is that if these peaks which are formed this way, if they are below the water level, क्या बोलेंगे उसको? Ridges or seamounts, and if they are flat on the top, guyot. इतना पता है हमें. So shield volcanoes below the water level give us ridges, seamounts or guyot. And if the shield volcano comes above the water level, island. ठीक है, so you will get an island like this, right? And if on the island you have another peak, volcanic peak, island तो बन गया, big island. Right, let us say the island is 200 kilometers wide or 100 kilometers wide, right? And then on that you might get many more volcanic peaks, shield volcanoes again. हमने पढ़ा है ना, on the continent also you might get shield volcano. So on that island also you might get shield volcanoes, right? So they will be volcanic peaks on the islands. And then on the island you will further have volcanic peak. So when you have to imagine this, if we draw this, what will we get? Suppose this is the ocean crust. ठीक है? And on top of the ocean crust you have the oceanic water. ऐसा oceanic water is there. ठीक है? I'll just zoom this, don't worry. Okay, so oceanic crust below and then oceanic water, and then in this you have the volcanic eruptions. So if you have the volcanic eruption, let us say यहाँ से ऐसा आ रहा है, so it might give you maybe some ridges or gyots. They have moved, already moved, मान लो. So you might get gyots and ridges or seamounts, and you might also get a island like this. ऐसा island भी बन सकता है. ठीक है ना, इस टाइप का. So this is an island, and on top of the island you might again get a relatively vertical peak. So that becomes an island with a volcanic peak. Imaginable? ठीक है, समझ में आया? Is this clear? So these are the different formations that you get, right? And because the mantle plume magma might not exactly be same everywhere. For example, mantle plume magma in the Pacific might be different from the mantle plume magma in the Atlantic. That depends on what type of material exactly is there inside the earth. The material might not always be exactly same, or mantle plume material. So sometimes it might be slightly denser, sometimes it might be slightly less denser, hence it might give you different formations. So sometimes it will give you shield, higher shield, less higher shield, horizontal, all that. So slight variation would always be there. ठीक है, इन नेचर यू नेवर गेट एग्जैक्टली द सेम कॉपीज मोस्टली, है ना, हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ वेरिएशन होता है. So that variation is because of slight variations here and there. Clear? Broadly, so क्या क्या formation बना लिया आपने? On the ocean floor, shield volcano. So from shield volcano, what all? Ridges, geodes, seamounts, islands, and islands with volcanic peaks. Volcanic peaks. ठीक है, वो शील्ड वॉल्केनो ही है, अभी तक सब कुछ ही शील्ड वॉल्केनो है. ठीक है, बट वॉल्केनिक पीक्स. इज दिस क्लियर? पक्का? नो मेजर डाउट्स? विल आई हैव ट्रेंच हियर? अब मेरा क्वेश्चन, ट्रेंच बनेगा? यस और नो? कुछ सबडक्ट हो रहा है? प्लेट सबडक्शन? एनी प्लेट सबडक्शन वी हैव टॉक्ड ऑफ टिल नाउ इन टुडेज क्लास? हो रहा है? नहीं हो रहा है. तो अगर सबडक्शन नहीं है तो विल आई गेट अ ट्रेंच? नो. So no subduction. Why? Because it is anyways for subduction you need the margin of the plate. अभी आप margin पे तो बात कर ही नहीं रहे हो. You are not talking of the margins, है ना? So if you are not talking of the margin, there is no chance of any subduction. Now this is the difference also with the previous islands. In the previous island that you have done, or the previous ridges that you have done, there was always a trench where the plate was subducting, and near that trench, islands or ridges or whatever was formed. Here you have islands, you have ridges, but you don't have any trench. Why? Because there is no subduction. Why? Because this is happening inside the plate. So when many of you ask me, sir, is this the way an island is formed? Then when you see an island in the ocean, you also have to see, is there a trench nearby? If it is not, if there is no trench nearby, chances are it is a mantle plume island. If there is a trench nearby, chances are it might be a subduction based island, right? So in the ocean you have two types of islands formed this way, right? One, convergence wala islands, plate convergence, and second, mantle plume islands. Convergence island they have already asked mains question. ठीक है, mantle plume पे भी एक बार पूछा है, but not exactly the islands, right? Convergence पे they have asked many questions, right? So they have asked different types of convergence and all. They have also asked formation of island. They have asked mantle plume, they have still not asked formation of islands due to mantle plume. Okay, so this is one question they can ask you. So the examples that I'll give you for this, they can give you the name of that example and explain the formation of this island. So when you are reading, the moment you see an island, don't jump, this must be a subduction island. No. Subduction means plate subduction formed island. No. You have to see, kaun sa island bol rahe hain. That's why I have given you most of the names of the islands also. उस समय we wrote ना, most of the islands we wrote around the Ring of Fire and the Caribbean and the Andaman Nicobar. हमने बहुत सारा island लिखा था. अभी यहाँ पे हम इसका island लिखेंगे. We'll write the mantle plume islands. ठीक है, so that you people are clear which island is formed because of what. Clear? ठीक है, just give me a moment. Let me see. So does it become a chain of? No. Good. So please re-elaborate. Sir, please re-elaborate African Rift Valley. ये हमने 2021 में पढ़ा था ना. दीपांशी जी, आप थोड़ा लेट उठे हैं, ठीक है. प्लीज गो बैक एंड चेक द वीडियोस. वेरी गुड. द आंसर्स, ऑल थिंग्स इज स्लाइटली, इफ द मैग्मा इज सेम टाइप, व्हाई इट इज फ्रॉम डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ फॉर्मेशन. इफ द मैग्मा इज सेम type, why it is from a different, why it is to form a different type of, it is not the same magma, it is not the mantle convection magma, it is not the, sorry, it is not the asthenosphere convection magma, it is a mantle plume magma. There is a difference between a mantle plume magma जो हमने पहले किया है. This is an online question, so let me just allow me to answer. This is the asthenosphere convection magma and this one is the mantle plume magma. This is the difference. Okay, Jyoti, so and I do read these questions because many times you people don't tend to ask, but वो doubt होता है आप लोग का दिमाग में भी. ठीक है, so this will help if I'll read the question and I'll give the answer. If you also have this doubt, it gets cleared here itself if needed. Man, let me see also. So I've answered almost everything perfectly fine. So no major doubts. Good. हाँ जी, हाँ जी. Sea floor spreading होना चाहिए. Should I get sea floor spreading? What do you think? बोलो. Yes sir, no sir. नहीं, दो लोगों का झगड़ा नहीं है. आप लोग भी, ये थोड़ी मतलब सर इन्हीं दोनों को आईएएस देना, हम लोग तो ऐसे ही आ गए थे। बोलो यस सर, नो सर, नहीं होगा। क्यों नहीं होगा वो बताओ। हाँ, द प्लेट्स आर नॉट गोइंग अपार्ट, एक ही डायरेक्शन में पूरा प्लेट जा रहा है ना, ठीक है। और अब आप दूसरा क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो, सर अगर प्लेट दो डायरेक्शन में गया तब, तो बहुत रेयर केस है, we'll talk, ठीक है। बट दैट इज नॉट डाइवर्जेंस बिकॉज ऑफ मैंटल प्लूम, दैट इज डाइवर्जेंस अगेन बिकॉज ऑफ asthenosphere convection. The mantle plume does not create any divergence. Is this clear? Mantle plume will not create divergence वगैरह, वो सिर्फ एक छोटा सा होल बनाएगा, magma out, volcanic formation, that's it, ठीक है। Any other thing? None? तो इतना सबको क्लियर हो गया। अभी हमने एक फॉर्मेशन तो कर लिया ओशन फ्लोर में, देन विच फॉर्मेशन इज लेफ्ट ऑन द कॉन्टिनेंट। बट अगर मैं सारा लोड एक साथ दे दूंगा ना, तो मुझे लग रहा है दो चार तो एक दो झपकी मार चुका है, जैसा ये वाला था। हाँ, मतलब क्लास का बीच में ऐसा ऐसा क्या कर रहा है सर, मेडिटेट कर रहा हूँ। सर मेडिटेटिव स्टेट में चला गया था, इतना ध्यान लग गया आपका क्लास में। तो यार प्लीज यहाँ मेडिटेशन नहीं करना है, ठीक है, नहीं तो मैं भी फिर ऐसा पालाती मार के बैठ जाऊंगा, ठीक है। सो इज दिस ठीक है, एक ही नहीं सोया है, दो तीन और भी सोए थे, मैंने देखा, मेरे को पता लग जाता है सोने का आप लोग का अलग अलग स्टेट है। किसी का आंखें, वो उतना वेल ट्रेंड नहीं था बेचारा, वो पकड़ा गया। कुछ एकदम वेल ट्रेंड है, ऐसा देखते देखते सो जाता है। हाँ, कुछ उसके भी आगे है, पलक भी झपक रहा है फिर भी सोया हुआ है। और जो हाईएस्ट लेवल का है वो कौन सा है? सर हिलाते हिलाते सोते हैं। यस सर, मैं सब समझ रहा हूं। वो भी पकड़ में आ जाते हैं। कब? सर ने कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछा तो भी। इसका मतलब ये सोया हुआ है, उठा ही नहीं है अभी, ठीक है। सो आप लोग एकदम मतलब ग्रेजुएशन के साथ आप लोगों ने बहुत कुछ लर्न कर लिया, ये थोड़ा मोड़ा बच गया यूपीएससी के लिए, ये भी सीख लो। ओके, सो क्लियर? यस सर। ये दो क्वेश्चन है, एक ही क्वेश्चन है? हाँ, फिर से बोलो फिर, क्योंकि आपने पहला स्टेटमेंट छोड़ के दूसरा स्टेटमेंट चेंज किया है। हाँ बोलो। मेंटल प्लूम मैग्मा सेम सेम कन्वेक्शन फॉलो क्यों नहीं करता? आपको वापस वो पानी वाला पॉट में ले चलें, याद आया? उसमें पानी में क्यों नहीं घी मिल जाता है? डेंसिटी डिफरेंट है। हाँ, उसके साथ आगे जाके क्यों नहीं मिल पाता है? वो उतना टाइम टाइम नहीं देता ना, थोड़ा जो वॉट एवर मैग्मा हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू कम आउट, दैट विल ऑब्वियसली गो। इट्स नॉट दैट 100% ऑफ द मेंटल प्लूम मैग्मा कम्स आउट, ओनली 20% कम्स आउट, द रिमेनिंग 80% गोज, ठीक है, क्लियर? एनी अदर? नन? तो इतना लिख लें पहले, आज के लिए पहला समझना काफी हो गया, पहला लिख लेते हैं, देन वील सी द लास्ट थिंग, ठीक है। नो मेजर डाउट्स? वेरी गुड, गुड गुड गुड। शव आसन, सागर रावल, वो शव का स्पेलिंग भी रात है, रॉन्ग है, वो ऐसे भी लिख दिया आपने, स्पेलिंग राइट करिए, पता होना चाहिए मरने के बाद लिखना क्या है उसके बारे में। ठीक है, सो ओके, सो अभी कोई डायग्राम बनाना बाकी है आप लोग का, तो शुड बी राइट, वेरी गुड। सो वी स्टार्ट विद द व्हाट इज मेंटल प्लूम थिंग फर्स्ट एंड देन वी गो ऑन, ठीक है। सो फर्स्ट, व्हाट इज मेंटल प्लूम? We have understood lot many things. Okay, so what is mantle plume? First we write that, and we'll take up the example simultaneously, that water pot wala example, right? That will help you understand, recall later. So hopefully that water pot diagram also you have made, that boiling thing, ये वाला diagram जो हमने बनाया था कहीं पे, कन्वेक्शन टाइप का एक डायग्राम बनाया ना ये वाला. So I'll give you the example of this. From this itself we are picking. ठीक है? So you can write we saw in the boiling water convection diagram, that some non-uniform material compared to the asthenosphere magma, compared to the normal, some non-uniform material compared to the normal asthenosphere magma within bracket, for example, some food impurities, for example, some food impurities stuck at the bottom of the pan, food impurities stuck at the bottom of the pan. Within bracket, for example, some impurities stuck at the bottom of the pan might melt due to heating and rise. Might melt due to heating and rise along with the rising water convection in the pan. Along with the rising water convection in the pan. Bracket close. Rising water convection in the pan. Bracket close. The non-uniform magma might rise similarly. Bracket close, then write the non-uniform magma might rise similarly. Non-uniform magma might rise similarly. In addition to the normal asthenosphere convection magma. Normal asthenosphere convection magma. Because of difference in densities, within bracket, the impurity rising magma, within bracket, the impurity rising magma might be slightly lighter. Impurity rising magma might be slightly lighter. Slightly lighter than the normal asthenosphere convection. Than the normal asthenosphere convection. Bracket close. Does not mix with the normal asthenosphere convection magma, because the densities are different, so they do not mix, right? Does not mix with the asthenosphere convection magma. Hence, full stop, then write full stop. Hence, this rising impurity magma, in the form of bubbles, in the form of big bubbles, within bracket plume, P-L-U-M-E, plume, within bracket plume, in the form of big bubble, within bracket plume, bracket close, is known as mantle plume, is known as mantle plume magma as shown. So these ones, this ones in the diagram, right? These are the mantle plume magma. Is this clear? And the convection also. So in your diagram, you should have the convection diagram, normal convection, and then you should have the mantle plume. नहीं तो बाद में confusion हो जाएगा 6 महीना 1.5 साल बाद जब भी कॉपी खोलोगे. ठीक है? So please do draw that clearly. ये ऐसा diagram बनाओ. Draw the convection, normal convection, and in that convection itself, draw the on the side, draw the mantle plume thing. Can you? और ये बाकी चीजें लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. Pull, ridge, वो सब जरूरत नहीं है. You don't need that. You just need the magma and the mantle plume. Please do draw it in your copy. The things you don't need, I'll try to hide in white color. ये नहीं चाहिए आपको, ये भी नहीं चाहिए. ठीक है, ये ट्रेंच वगैरह हमको नहीं चाहिए अभी, so we don't need to. So you have the asthenosphere, you have the normal convection, and you have the mantle plume. And let me write, this is mantle plume, mantle plume. Okay. And normal convection, I think वो आपको दिख ही रहा है. Let me not make the diagram more crowded. Yeah. Very good question. We'll come to that. Give me time. ठीक है. When I'll show you the diagrams, there we'll take it up. ठीक है. By the way, do you remember what we have talked of the islands and the ridges in the case of normal convection? Initially we had oceanic, islands formed, then continental oceanic. Where did the islands go? On the margin of the continent. याद है? लिखा है हमने कॉपी में. Margin of the continent, those islands accumulated, making the continents slightly bigger. Because a continent will come from the side. It is just like you have a big cake and you add a pastry to it. The cake becomes bigger. Same thing happens here also, but the examples I'll show you later. ठीक है? But the same thing. Islands, the island is a Sial material. Continental type का material है ना, so it can't sink. Right? It is the continental material. Island is like continent. Ocean floor is like the oceanic material. So only the oceanic plates or oceanic lithosphere or oceanic crust subducts. Continental material never subducts. Suppose this is the continent on top of the island, oceanic floor like this, and this oceanic floor goes on subducting. Okay? What will happen to this island when it comes to another continent? The trench. It will go, add up, this whole thing will go down. But this island remains there. And because this island gets added to this island, so the whole thing becomes a bigger island or a continent. This is how more and more continents add and make a more and more islands add and make a continent. In one word, islands never subduct. Come again? Ridges and the seamounts or ridges or gyots, even they don't subduct. Right? Because they are also of the same material. तो तीनों ही subduct नहीं करता है. If you want to write in one line, if you want to write, you can write this. That ridges, gyots, seamounts, islands never subduct. They only add to the continental margins. ठीक है? Or continental coasts. They add, so the continent becomes bigger. ठीक है? Please do write this. A good question. Okay. Clear है? Everyone understands this? So the statement that she wanted me to dictate was that seamounts, ridges, gyots and islands never subduct in the trench. Okay, they never subduct in the trench. They always add on the coast of the continent or island. Always add. on the coast of the island or continent. Just like adding a pastry to the cake. That's why I keep giving you these examples from your day-to-day life. You take a pastry, you add it to the cake. What happens? The cake becomes slightly bigger. You take 2 more pastries, you add it to the cake. More bigger. Right? But obviously you can also see the margin where they have added. So when you go on land, you can see the places where the islands have added. वो हम देख सकते हैं. But they will be added. They will not sink. Clear? Any major doubt? हाँ? दोनों ओशियानिक है तो भी उसका मार्जिन पे जाकर के वो इकट्ठा हो जाएगा. ठीक है. और फिर जब वो दूसरा टाइप से कहीं ना कहीं कॉन्टिनेंट आएगा कोई ना कोई साइड से तो एड अप हो जाएगा. ऑलराइट. कॉम्प्रेस भी होगा और वो राइज भी करेगा. ठीक है. वो हम इंडिया फॉर्मेशन में बात करेंगे. देयर इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ दैट, द द्रास रीजन इन इंडिया. द द्रास वाज एन आइलैंड इन द तेथिस सी अर्लियर. ठीक है. व्हेन द हिमालयाज फॉर्म्ड, द द्रास आइलैंड added to the land of Eurasia and then it went between the mountains. Now Dras is a few thousand meters high, whereas earlier it was an island in the ocean. When? Around 50 million years before present. ठीक है. बट अभी ये एग्जाम्पल याद नहीं रखना है. जो भी मैंने अभी लास्ट 1 मिनट में बोला सब भूल जाओ. राइट. आई विल कम बैक टू दिस लेटर. ठीक है. So, but questions are good. So I just give you the example so that you can connect in the mind, keep that in your head, and when we write later on, understand, then we can add up. ठीक है. अभी उतना लिखना है जो हमारे लिए necessary है. Right? So कितना लिखा last part? Last part. Sorry. Just repeat the last line. आप पढ़िए. एक सेकंड रुको. आप बोलो last line. You're right. Mantle plume is known as mantle plume. Okay. Full stop. These mantle plume magmas go below the plate. Mantle plume magma go below the plate and crack them. Crack them, not break. Do right. Not break. Crack. Break means 2 parts, crack means small hole. If you want, you can clarify. ठीक है. Crack the plate, not break the plate. Crack means small hole and break means 2 parts. ठीक है. So crack, not break the plate, and from the crack. Okay, Vishwesh, I'll keep that in mind. Online question. That's okay. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. Crack the plate and make a hole from which magma erupts over the crust. Magma erupts over the crust. Full stop. Depending on type of crust, magma erupts on the crust. Full stop. Depending on type of crust, within bracket oceanic or continental. Depending on type of crust, oceanic or continental. Such eruptions form different formation. Like such eruptions form different formations. Like if eruption on oceanic crust, within bracket below sea level, eruption on oceanic crust within bracket below sea level, which means underwater. Okay, below sea level or underwater, it always forms shield volcanoes. And below sea level or underwater, it always forms shield volcanoes. Okay, which are gently sloping peaks. Not vertical sloping, gently sloping peaks. as drawn above. Hopefully everyone has drawn the diagram. Okay, gently sloping peaks as drawn above. ठीक है. Full stop. Whereas if such eruptions take place over continental crust, within bracket above sea level, it sometimes forms shield volcanoes. It sometimes forms shield volcano peaks. But mostly forms flatter basalt lava plateau, or province, also called as flood basalt plateau or province, That answers Jyoti Rajput your question online. Also called flood basalt plateau or province. Okay, clear? So the formations are done, right? Good. Next line, next paragraph. So the formations we have written, what do we call? The basalt lava province or plateau, also called flood basalt plateau or province. It's the same thing. Flood basalt plateau or province, or basalt lava plateau or province. They are the same things, different names of the same thing. ठीक है, तो कहीं कहीं लिखा होगा basalt lava plateau, like the Deccan basalt lava plateau, right? Some places you will find flood basalt province. Is that okay? Or plateau. ये सब एक ही चीज है. Clear? I do see some doubt on your faces. That's why I'm asking. Is this clear? Everyone? इधर भी जब आप लोगों में हलचल होना शुरू होती है तो मुझे पता लग जाता है यहाँ कोई डिस्टर्बेंस है. डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं है ना? सब नेचुरल है, नॉर्मल, क्लियर, वेरी गुड. आगे बढ़े. नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ. So till now we have written the magma and all this. ठीक है. Now write down the mantle plume magma. Also coming from deep inside asthenosphere. Mantle plume magma also coming from deep inside asthenosphere is basic, basaltic and denser. Deep inside the asthenosphere is basic, basaltic and denser, like the rising convection magma, but not as dense, dark, basic and basaltic. It is like but not as dense. Okay, but not as dense, dark, basic and basaltic like the asthenosphere, convection magma. It is like it but not exactly same. ठीक है, it is like a 50% dark chocolate and a 90% dark chocolate. है ना? आप मार्केट में जाते हैं तो मिलता है ना, एक डार्क चॉकलेट मिलता है, एक नॉर्मल मिल्क चॉकलेट मिलता है. तो डार्क चॉकलेट्स आर आल्सो चॉकलेट एंड मिल्क चॉकलेट इज आल्सो चॉकलेट, बट अ मिल्क चॉकलेट इज अ लेस कोकोआ कंटेंट चॉकलेट. डार्क चॉकलेट इज समथिंग लाइक 70, 80, 90% डार्क चॉकलेट भी मिलता है. अरे समझ में? आप लोग का भाषा में बात करना पड़ता है मुझे, है ना? क्योंकि आप लोग ये चॉकलेट वॉकलेट में ज्यादा विश्वास रखते हो. बताने को मैं और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बट अब पता नहीं, फिर आप बोलोगे सर वो क्या होता है ना? गुड़ में भी होता है ना? और उसमें, बट फिर पूछोगे सर गुड़ और इसमें जो आप बोल रहे हो इसमें अंतर क्या है? तो आप लोगों को इतना समझाने से अच्छा है मैं आप ही का भाषा में चॉकलेट, बर्गर, पिज्जा, पैटी, केक, उसी में समझा दो, ठीक है? Okay, good. So hopefully you understand this, right? So we understand the nature of this basic basaltic, but it is not as dense as dark and all that. Clear? Now the last part, next part. While the mantle plume magma, while the mantle plume magma randomly and distinctly, while the mantle plume magma randomly and distinctly, distinct means it's not mixed with the other one, okay, randomly and distinctly rising in the asthenosphere, simultaneously the normal asthenosphere convections also continue. Simultaneously, the normal asthenosphere convections also continue. Creating divergence, convergence and transform plate movements. Creating divergence, convergence and transform plate movements. Hence, though the mantle plume is fixed in the asthenosphere, is fixed in terms of location. Mantle plume is fixed in terms of location in the asthenosphere, is fixed in terms of location in the asthenosphere, comma, the lithospheric plates continue to move, comma, the lithospheric plates continue to move. Okay, what have I said? यहाँ देख लो एक बार. These mantle plume magma, they will remain fixed. They can't move with the convection. ठीक है, so they are almost fixed in the asthenosphere. But the lithospheric plates, they are continuously moving. This is what you have written. ठीक है, hence the cracks on the plates also shift. Cracks on the plates also shift with the formations. As की जगह and लिख लीजिए, and the older formations shift away, whereas newer formations are formed at the or above the mantle plume. Above the mantle plume. Newer formations are formed above the mantle plume. So see this diagram. Can you see in this? This is the mantle plume somewhere here, and the mantle plume is rising. And the older formations, they have shifted away as the plate moves. Just above the mantle plume, a new formation comes up. Over a period of time, this will also move and a new formation will come up. So the older one keeps moving with the plate. Above the mantle plume, newer formations keep forming. Clear? यही लिखा है अभी आपने. Is this clear? If you want, you can draw this diagram also. The ones who want, I'll give you that 1 minute. ठीक है? So इसको जल्दी से बना लो. Simple diagram. Don't hash and all. All these diagrams are already shared in the plate tectonic sheets also. Everything I'm showing you in the class is already shared with you. All right, done. Good. Now tell me, if the mantle plume magma ends, let us say at one place the mantle plume rising magma is over, what will happen then? Magma खत्म हो गया तो क्या होगा? खत्म हो गया तो खत्म हो गया, है ना? That's it. The formation, new formation will stop. Simple. ठीक है? Right? That answers Abhay your question also online. Right? So once the mantle plume is over, no new formation. That's it. The story is over then. There at that place, the story is over. ठीक है? Good. So this movement thing also we have written. All right. Now let us take the example. For example, see the example. All of you. This is the diagram of this side you have Asia, that side you have North America. Okay, this is Pacific, right? And that white boundary is the Pacific plate boundary. That white thing, you don't have to draw, just see this. Okay? So this whitish boundary that we have is the plate, Pacific plate boundary, something like this. All right? And in the Pacific plate, at that Hawaii, where Hawaii is written with that slightly bigger yellowish bunch, that's where you have the Hawaii hotspot inside the earth, in the asthenosphere region. Okay, so there's a Hawaii hotspot, something like this, rising mantle plume in the asthenosphere, right? And that is that Hawaii location, this one. Okay, so what is happening at Hawaii? You have one island there by the name of Hawaii Island. When you go north of Hawaii, right? Why? Because the Pacific plate has been moving like this, right? So north of Hawaii, you have the Hawaii. क्या है ये? Ridges in the ocean. Then you have Midway Island. Okay, then Emperor, Seamount, chain. Can you see this? So you have the chain, then an island, then some ridge, then another island. That answers your question to some extent. Right? Some extent. Right? That you might not just get one island, you might get a chain of islands, or an island arc, or a ridge chain, or a ridge arc, ठीक है, or a seamount chain, or a seamount arc, whatever you call. Right? So this way, hotspots also form not only one island, they might form a arc of island, right, or a chain of island, or an archipelago, or a arc or chain of seamounts also. Right? This is the example of this. In one example itself, we have more than one island because Hawaii is not one island. It's a chain. There's a group of island there. Right? And then nearby you have another island and then further on chain. Is this okay? So please do write this name. Clear? So you can write. First write this name. For example, the Emperor Seamount chain. For example, the Emperor Seamount chain. Spellings on the board. Emperor Seamount chain, Midway Island, Emperor Seamount chain, Midway Island, Hawaiian ridges, and the Hawaiian island. Hawaiian island are the examples of mantle plume formation, mantle plume lead formations, mantle plume caused or lead, whichever word you are comfortable, mantle plume caused formations over the oceanic crust, lead or caused, whatever you are comfortable, formation over the oceanic. Okay, clear? This is one example. And if I ask you, in which of these islands will I find volcanic activity to be active? कहाँ पे मिलना चाहिए? Hawaii, because the rest have already moved. है ना? They are not over the mantle plume, right? So you can write that also. The most recent such formation, most recent of such formations, such formation chain, you write this way, most recent of such formation chain will generally be volcanically active. Will, most recent of such formation chain will, very good Vishal, will generally be volcanically active. Most recent of such formation chain will volcanically be active. For example, the Hawaii Islands are volcanically active. Hawaii Islands are volcanically active. Right, with peaks like Mauna Loa, Mauna Loa, spelling on the board. And Kilauea. These names are given in your GC Leong also, the volcano chapter, right? Mauna Loa and Kilauea. They are the Hawaiian shield volcano peaks. Kila, UEA, something like this. Okay, these are Hawaiian terms. So spellings might slightly be here and there. Just cross check with your GC Leong. This way at least you will read the GC Leong also. Okay, is this clear? Basalt lava province and all, if you want to read more, it is not given in your NCERT, it is given in the second chapter of GC Leong. Mountains, plateaus and plains. There is a part in chapter number 2 of GC Leong. Mountains, plateaus and plains. Please read that. You will know more about basalt lava, plateaus and all. Please do read. There are many examples given and UPSC has been asking name driven questions where they are give you a 15 marker with name. Explain the formation of this. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा पढ़ लीजिए, मैं चाहता हूँ आप लोग पढ़ें. ठीक है, the simpler things there I am not doing, conceptual things from that part I have already covered. ठीक है, अब एग्जाम्पल्स आपको उठाने हैं वो आप खुद पढ़ते रहो, थोड़ा कर सकते हो. खुद पढ़ना आप लोग को अच्छा लगता है या चाहते हो सब कुछ क्लास में स्पून में लगा करके दे दीजिए? हाँ सर, क्लास में दे दीजिए, ये भी कोई सवाल है? ऐसा सवाल पूछ रहे हो आप? हाँ अच्छा, तो यही है सर, आप ही दे दो सब कुछ, मैं एग्जाम भी दे आऊंगा. आप क्या करने जाओगे इतनी दूर? हाँ चलो रहने दो. तो थोड़ा एफर्ट डालो यार, आप लोग भी डालो. ठीक है, इसलिए जरूरी है कि क्लास में से हर बच्चा नहीं होने वाला. मैं बार बार आपको ये याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ. ठीक है, किसी भी क्लास में से दो, मेरी पूरी इच्छा होती है कि सारे हो जाएं, बट आज तक ऐसी कोई क्लास टकराई नहीं जिसमें से सारे हो जाएं. मैंने पहले भी कहा था पोटेंशियल सब में है, सच ये है कि सारे नहीं होंगे. और वो पोटेंशियल और सच का जो गैप है वो आप बनाते हो, मैं नहीं. ठीक है, तो अगर आप एफर्ट डालोगे तो होगे, नहीं तो मुश्किल है. सच है, ये भी एकदम सही सच है. मैं आपसे झूठ और सपने नहीं दिखाना चाहता हूं, कोई फायदा नहीं है. ठीक है, कि इस क्लास को अटेंड करने से आईएएस बन जाओगे. ऐसी कोई क्लास है ही नहीं दुनिया में जिसको अटेंड करने से आप आईएएस बन सको. कोई भी क्लास नहीं है. कोई भी टीचर बता दे 100% बच्चे हो गए, एक क्लास 50% वाला भी दिखा दो, है ही नहीं. क्यों झूठ बोलते हैं, है ना? मेरा काम क्या है? आपको सच बताना और आपको रास्ते पे ले जाना। आगे आपको जाना है नहीं जाना वो आप देखो। तो ये एफर्ट डालो तो जाओगे। आप पढ़ते हो ना यार, यूपीएससी टॉपर क्या बोलता है, मैंने एनसीईआरटी पढ़ा, ये पढ़ा, वो पढ़ा। आपने भी पढ़ा, उसने भी पढ़ा, आपका क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? आपका मतलब डोंट टेक इट पर्सनली, मतलब जो नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? सिंपल सा रीजन है, फोकस मिसिंग है, एफर्ट नहीं डाला है। बुक तो वही है। और ऐसा नहीं कि वो 2-4 बुक छुपा के बोलते हैं आपसे, ऐसा कोई नहीं है। एक अब वो हो चुके हैं। इंसान इतना सेल्फिश होता है कि जब तक होता नहीं तब तक कुछ नहीं बताता, और जब हो जाता है तो फिर ब्रैगिंग इज आवर हैबिट। मैंने ये भी किया, वो भी किया। तो आपने सुना है कभी उससे ज्यादा किसी ने किया हो? इतने में ही वो टॉप कर जाते हैं, राइट? सो अपना ट्रू नेचर समझो, अपना ट्रू गोल भी समझो, एफर्ट डालो। आई वॉन्ट टू हैव वन क्लास जहां मैं बोल सकूं हाँ यार 50% हो गए थे, एटलीस्ट प्रीलिम्स निकाल पाए। 50% प्रीलिम्स भी नहीं निकाल पाते, फाइनल सिलेक्शन तो दूर है। और इसी क्लास में से होते भी हैं और इसी क्लास में से नहीं भी होते हैं। ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा एफर्ट डालो। मैं आपको सोर्स बताता जाऊंगा, बाकी हंस के साइड में कर दो तो भी मेरा कुछ नहीं जा रहा है ना। और सीरियसली लोगे तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा, भले मुझे मेरे पास वापस मत आओ, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता। आई एम डन द मोमेंट आई हैव सेड आई हैव डन माई टास्क ऑनेस्टली, है ना। लाइफ में अपना टास्क ऑनेस्टली करना चाहिए। मेरा काम सिर्फ मेरा टास्क है, मैं आपको फॉलो नहीं कर सकता हूँ, वो मेरा टास्क नहीं है, वो आपके पेरेंट्स का टास्क है और अदर आपका अपना टास्क है। मेरा काम सिर्फ शेयर करना है जो मुझे पता है। ठीक, ये मैम भी नहीं शेयर करेंगे, कोई भी, मतलब कोई भी आपको फॉलो नहीं करता रहेगा कि आप क्यों नहीं कर रहे। अगर कोई कर रहा है तो सोचो कि आप ब्लेस्ड कि आपसे कोई पूछ रहा है। कईयों को तो चांस ही नहीं मिलता, प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर नेट मिल रहा है, उसमें से पढ़ करके और सिलेक्ट हो रहे हैं। आपसे तो पासवर्ड छुपाते हैं हम यहाँ पे। ठीक है, सो एनीवेज हमने लास्ट पार्ट वी हैव रिटन, सो नाउ लेट अस कम टू द example also, hopefully written. I have told you the source where you can find more content related to some of these formation. The volcano part you find Hawaii, the basalt lava province you find in chapter number 2. Please do that slide study yourself to get more facts. ठीक है, filter yourself, keep it in your copy, it's the same content. So now let's come to some more islands and all. Let us see. So you can see this in this diagram. For example, यहाँ देखिए, you can see that's the magma rising at one place. Can you see the hotspot magma rising at one place? At the other places it's not rising. Those islands have already moved. Why? Because the plates have moved. ठीक है, clear, right? So now if you see the world map, where all do we have these examples? All those red dots are hotspots, right? That's a hotspot map of the world, right? All those red dots are hotspots. One example you have written Hawaii, right? The other examples you can write, but don't write the ones on the continent. The continent ones I'll talk later. I have still to tell you. Okay? So the island ones in the ocean, please do write, because all the names on the island in the water bodies, they are the islands formed by hotspots, right? Such as Hawaii, Galapagos, Azores, Iceland, Reunion. वो सारा नाम लिख लेना आपको. Please do write. So Hawaii, Galapagos. Galapagos Island was known for Darwin's research. ठीक है, that was the island where Darwin did most of his research. Evolution का research उसने यहाँ पे किया था. That's biology. That's nothing to do with geology, but that's an island there. ठीक है, Galapagos. And then Azores is another example. Reunion there, वो नीचे लिखा हुआ है Reunion Island. That is also an example. ठीक है, and then you have Iceland on top. Right? Iceland is different, slightly different. Why? Because Iceland is that rare case that you talked of. Iceland is the rare case where you have the hotspot just at the margin of the plates, as you can see. दिख रहा है? Iceland, one side you have North American plate, the other side you have Eurasian plate. And Iceland, the hotspot accidentally is just at the margin. It's just an accident. It's just a chance. ठीक है, so if you go to Iceland, there are places, right, where you can stand in the middle, and then on one side you will be touching the North American plate, the other side you will be touching the European plate on the island, right? I got to do it in 2020, right? So there are valleys there, and in those valleys you can just go and stand, and one side you have this, the other side North American, Europe. That's such a good thing to see, because you never get to, you know, touch both the plates together. There are some few places in Iceland which are tourist locations where they have made this possible. Okay. So clear? So Iceland, though it is an island, but please do write this for Iceland. Iceland is an island, but it is not a divergence island, right? It's not due to divergence of plate. Iceland is a mantle plume island formed not due to divergence, of plate, but rather not due to the divergence of plate, but rather the Icelandic hotspot accidentally happens accidentally happens to be along the mid-Atlantic ridge. Okay, clear? Right, so it's only an accident there, by chance that we get this. All right, and I hope you have written the other ones, Azore and Reunion also. Reunion will come. Reunion is an island that we have presently. There's an island presently at Reunion. By the name of Reunion, the island is there. So we call that hotspot as Reunion hotspot. Okay, clear? Good. Now let us come to mantle plume eruption over continents. बट उससे पहले आप लोग को ब्रेक की आदत है ना? चेहरा ऐसा बनाया करके देख रहे सभी, सर ब्रेक किधर है? चाहिए ब्रेक? ले लो 5 मिनट, 5 मिनट या 10 का चाहिए? मैम हाउ लॉन्ग डू वी जनरली गिव देम अ ब्रेक फॉर? 10 मिनट, 10 मिनट्स. एंजॉय 10 मिनट्स. Okay, so there are few online doubts which I need to take up before we move on. I think the second one you want me to answer, ma'am? The one by Mansi Goel, both? Yeah. Yeah. So there is a doubt, sir. Is there a probability of the shifted peaks? The shifted peaks which have already shifted, is there a possibility of them becoming volcanically active? The answer is no. If we talk with respect to the given mantle plume from which they were formed, there is no possibility that they will become, because they have already moved. है ना? ऐसा बात है कि अगर आपने कहीं घर के ऊपर एक गैस का बर्नर है बड़ा वाला, तो उसमें से किसी एक बर्नर से खाना उठा के दूसरा पे रख दिया तो गर्म होता रहेगा क्या? होगा? एक बर्नर पे रखा था, बॉयल हो रहा था, देन यू शिफ्ट द फूड, विल इट हीट? नो सर, सिंपल. सो इट वोंट until unless the second one is also on. So if it goes to another one, then by chance, but that's just a chance. Okay, so hopefully answered. Then can magma come out because of hole by mantle plume? Can magma come out because of hole by mantle plume? Yes. आकांक्षा, इतनी देर से वही तो मैग्मा आ रहा है जिससे इतना सारा फॉर्मेशन बन गया. ठीक है. So obviously if there is a mantle plume and there is a hole due to that, magma will come out, volcanic eruption will happen, and formations are because of that only. ठीक है? Then if shield volcanoes or basalt, flood basalt are same, why it is given separately in NCERT as two different types? I think मानसी आपने ये question पहले भी पूछा है. I deliberately tried to avoid. It simply means that is wrong. अगर अलग दिया है तो ठीक है, वो अलग नहीं दिया हुआ है. It's the same thing. They have given you two different names. ठीक है. So ऐसा नहीं जबरदस्ती, मतलब ऐसा नहीं NCERT में तो ऐसा दिया हुआ है. ठीक है, वो कुछ अलग नहीं दिया है. It's the same thing. Don't worry. Okay, take my words for that. और मैं क्या बोलूं? Then why seafloor spreading not occur in mantle plume? That is a question, Mansi, which we have already answered. Some people have also, and in the beginning of dictation today also I said, they create cracks, not fault. If the fault is created, then only the plate will go break, and then only divergence can happen, and then only you will have seafloor spreading. Because the plates are not going away, so there is no spreading happening. It's just a formation at one place. This is a relatively smaller volcanic eruption. ठीक है? Okay. So अच्छा, I think मैम ये नाम आपका है क्या? I'm so sorry because those doubts were from the student. I'm so sorry. Because मैं 4-5 बार मानसी को बोल चुका हूँ. Then I realized कि वो तो आप ही हैं. ठीक है. So she keeps posting the doubts. Okay, so then I read धीरज भी लिखा हुआ है, तो मैंने कहा ये क्या है? So that was a doubt by धीरज, if I'm right. Yeah, thank you. Sorry ma'am. Right, please don't mind. ये हो जाता है, first class है आज, बहुत दिनों बाद है ना setup में. Okay, so I think both the questions are answered, ma'am. They were the one. Okay, good. And if the lava from crack of mantle plume is continuously coming out and plate is also moving continuously, why some of the volcanoes are large? See, the mantle plumes might not always, I said bubbles, I did not say a single stream, right? अगर आप ध्यान से देखिए, I have said mantle plume is a bubble. So once one bubble is over, then the second bubble will take some time to come. In that much time, one of the formations has already moved and the second comes out. That's why you have discrete formations. ठीक है, you don't have a continuous tap-like formation. Tap-like नहीं है, वो नीचे से tap नहीं चल रहा है कोई कि continuously magma is coming out and continuously formation is happening. So they are coming in bubbles, and every bubble will have its own formation. Bubble is over. By the time the second bubble comes, the plate has already moved. So then the second mountain starts. Is this okay? So hopefully that question is also answered, Jyoti. And that's it broadly. Okay. So now let us come to formation over the continents, right? So you can put the mantle plume related, mantle plume eruption, the subheading first. Subheading, mantle plume eruption, mantle plume eruption related formations. Mantle plume eruption related formations over the continents. Over the continents. Continents or islands. Over the continents or islands. Right? Over the continents or islands, not the ocean. Now you are talking of the formation either on the continent or over the island. Over the island. So island is already formed. Now over the island. Okay. So write down. In some of the island cases like Hawaii, in some of the island cases like Hawaii, some of the island cases like Hawaii, volcanic peaks are formed. Volcanic peaks are formed like Mauna Loa. Volcanic peaks are formed like Mauna Loa. The spelling I have already given you earlier. And Kilauea, Kilauea. Mauna Loa and Kilauea, full stop. Generally over the next paragraph, generally over the continents, next paragraph, generally over the continents, such hotspot eruptions lead to formation of basalt lava plateaus, also called flood basalt plateaus. Basalt lava plateaus, also called flood basalt plateaus. Right, as given in figure number 32, GC Leong. नाम भी लिख लेना है. As given in figure number 32, GC Leong. पेज नंबर, चैप्टर नंबर भी चाहिए. कुछ तो खुद भी ढूंढो. अभी क्लास का पहला लेक्चर दिया इतना मैंने. ठीक है. Okay, so this is the diagram. All right. राइट, अभी कोई सी ने लिखा भी था, सर आप तो ऐसे ही डरा रहे हो. मैं डरा नहीं रहा हूँ, मैं सच बोल रहा था. अब सच सुन के आपको डर लग रहा है तो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. सच है ही इतना डरावना. ठीक है, तो डरना नहीं है. आप लोग छोटा बच्चा नहीं हो ना, मैं बोलूँ नहीं नहीं मेरा बच्चा सबसे अच्छा. वो सुनना है घर जाओ, पापा मम्मी बुलाए बोलते रहेंगे. अब तो शायद उन्होंने भी बंद कर दिया होगा. ना, वो शुरू में होता है मेरा बच्चा सबसे अच्छा, बाद में वो दिखाते रहते हैं उनका बच्चा ये कर गया, उनका ये कर गया, उसका तो शादी भी होने वाला है, तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो. हो रहा है ना ये सब. अभी नहीं हो रहा है तो 2-3 साल वेट करो, फिर पता चलेगा किसका बच्चा सबसे अच्छा. ठीक है, तो अभी थोड़ा सच का सामना करना सीखिए. ओके, तो कम बैक. सो सी हियर, इन दिस डायग्राम यू सी लॉट मेनी प्लेट्यूज. राइट, थोड़ा फोकस करिए. एज यू कैन सी हियर, lava plateaus, right? So this black, the dark black colors are the lava plateaus. So which are the plateaus which you have formed this way? Basalt lava plateaus. You have Patagonian plateau, Parana plateau, okay, Columbia snake plateau, Mongolian plateau. In India you have the Deccan plateau, Siberian plateau, okay. So all these, the Ethiopian plateau, right? All these plateaus are examples of basalt lava plateau given in GC Leong. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये बुक बहुत अच्छा बुक है. इट्स ओनली दैट वी डू नॉट टेंड टू रीड इट. राइट, तो अभी थोड़ा सा ध्यान से देखते रहना है, पढ़ना भी है उसमें, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द मेंस क्वेश्चन आई फाइंड दे हैव सम सोर्स और समथिंग इन द जीसी लियोंग मेंस क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिकली. ठीक है, सो कैन यू राइट डाउन दोज नेम्स. थोड़ा सा 2-4-5 नाम लिख लो अपना हिसाब से कंफर्टेबली. Right, Patagonia, Columbia and Snake. Columbia and Snake are two rivers in that region in North America. There's a Columbia, that region you have the river and you have the Snake River also. Okay, then Mongolian plateau, Siberian plateau. Yeah. Zoom. Abhi thoda theek hai. I'll go on reading. That's why I was reading. So in South America you have Patagonia, South America. Right, Patagonian region, because this word Patagonia will again come back when we do climate. Okay, then North America you have the Columbia and Snake Plateau, that is by the Yellowstone hotspot. The Columbia and Snake Plateau, that is by Yellowstone hotspot. There is a hotspot in that region by the name of Yellowstone hotspot. Okay, the Yellowstone National Park is also named after it. Right, so that is the second plateau. Then you come to Mongolian plateau and Siberian plateau. Mongolia and Siberia. Then in India we have the Deccan lava plateau. Deccan lava plateau or Deccan basalt lava plateau. It is the same thing. ठीक है, जहां पे भी लावा या basalt word use हो रहा है, it's the same. Keep that in mind. ठीक है. All right. So in India, Deccan lava plateau. In Africa, Ethiopian plateau. Ethiopian plateau. In Africa. The Nile starts from here. Okay, the one of the branches of Nile starts from, not all, but one of the branches. You have Blue Nile and White Nile. So one part of it starts from here. It carries the basalt material with it, and it deposits from here, it goes up to this region, so it deposits that black basalt lava plateau material, right? The way the rivers from Deccan region in India, they carry the material. So Nile also has one of its branches here. It carries the what you call as the basalt lava plateau along the Nile, and along the Nile the soil is black colored, though there is no other source. And Nile region, the Egyptian region where Nile flows, is also known for cotton, the same way as Deccan plateau in India is known, right? So how did Egyptian region became where there is no basalt lava plateau? How did that region became one of the cotton growing region? The Nile brought the basaltic black soil from where? This plateau. Okay, this is how geography connects. And because of that one soil of the Nile, that is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, the Egyptian civilization. Most of you must have heard. सुना होगा ना हिस्ट्री में आपने. तो पूरा इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन का सोर्स कहाँ है? ये वाला मैंटल प्लूम in Ethiopia, because of which the soil was so productive that they could grow lot of things, you know, grains and cotton, and they could export, and they became a big civilization in themselves. Okay, this is how geography has its foundation in most of the things that you will find, right? So anyways, iske aage badhe. Is this clear? Right, so now we have to understand one last thing before I take you forward, how the Deccan lava plateau was formed. Why? Because you might ask me, sir, in below India we don't have a hotspot, or do we have, or is it over? We neither had nor have, nor it is over, right? The Deccan lava plateau is a special story which I'll tell you. तो अभी सुन ले थोड़ा. Is this much first of all clear? Basalt lava plateau बनना तो समझ में आ गया आपको. How did Deccan lava plateau formed in India? Do we have a hotspot below India? Means just below where we are? No, we don't have. This happened when, please see here. Right, so let me make a this was the Indian peninsular region, and I hope you remember in seafloor spreading, in continental drift, I told you Wegener's observations were mostly right. So this observation of Wegener was also right. Wegener said the Deccan region or the peninsular Indian region was earlier part of Gondwana land. Padha tha na humne? That was right. He was right as far as this was concerned. It's only that he said only the peninsular block has moved. Peninsular block is part of the Indo-Australian plate. So plate tectonic tells you that it's not only the block that moved, the whole plate moved. Okay. So later on, plate tectonic further corrected what Wegener had said. Wegener said सिर्फ block move किया था. Plate tectonic ने क्या बोला? पूरा plate move किया था. ठीक है. But at least the observation of Wegener with respect to peninsular plateau was right. Okay, so this peninsular plateau nahi, peninsular block. So this was the peninsular block which was part of Gondwana land. This kept moving. Okay, so it started around, if you see in your copies, आपने लिखा है 165 million years before present. The the continent broke, and this kept moving northward. वो सब लिखा है ना? So this was also moving northward, right? Around 65 million years before present, this peninsular region or the whole plate was somewhere over the Reunion hotspot. While it was coming from Antarctica to northern hemisphere, around 65 million years before present, the peninsular block of India was over which hotspot? It just crossed that. It is like a ship crossing the water. ठीक है ना? So the Reunion hotspot, the peninsular plateau also crossed like this. And when it was crossing, the Reunion hotspot magma cracked through the the plate, okay, the peninsular plateau, and it erupted on the surface. When it erupted, what formation will I get? Shield volcano or the basalt lava plateau? More chances are that we get basalt lava plateau, and hence it led to the formation of basalt lava plateau over India when? 65 million years before present. So 65 million years before present, when the peninsular block was moving like this, it was over Reunion hotspot. At that time there was no island there, right? So it was here, It just moved, basalt lava plateau, then it kept moving. As it further moved, magma eruption will continue or stop? एक बार इसके आगे चला गया, beyond the reunion hotspot, magma eruption stop. So magma eruption stopped there, right? Hence, after 65 million years or the period in between, there is no magma eruption over the Indian region, right? And then this kept moving, and then finally it reached कहाँ पे? यहाँ पे. But by that, when it reached here, before that already it had the basalt lava plateau formed, right? When it moved from reunion, it already had the basalt lava plateau formed, and then it moved with the basalt lava plateau. Do we get it? So this is how it reached. And now will I get volcanic eruption in India in that region? Why? And what is there where the hotspot was there? A new island came, because now the oceanic crust was crossing over it. So a new island came, and what is that island? A reunion. That's it. Clear? Simple story है. Geography में stories complex नहीं है, simple है. You just have to slightly focus and you get it. ठीक है? All right. Good. So should we write this? दो चार लाइन में लिख लेते हैं, so that you have the story also. Right. Write down. For example, when the peninsular Indian bloc, comma, as a part of Indo-Australian plate, moved over the reunion hotspot, around 65 million years before present, the volcanic eruption led to the formation of basalt lava plateau or province. Over the peninsular block. Known as the Deccan lava plateau. Deccan basalt lava plateau or Deccan lava plateau. Full stop. As the Indo-Australian plate continued to further move northward, it crossed the reunion hotspot region. Hence, volcanic eruption came to an end. Over Indian peninsular block. Volcanic eruption came to an end over peninsular Indian block, and it reached its present position. In Eurasia. Full stop. Simultaneously, the hotspot eruption has formed the which island? Reunion island above the hotspot. Simultaneously form the reunion island above the hotspot. Okay. Good. So with this you understand the formation of Deccan lava plateau in India also, right? So when we'll come to Deccan lava plateau, I'll not explain this again. है ना, हो चुका है, तो वहाँ पे हम बोल देंगे यार, we'll move on. This is how in physical geography at different places, I'll give you examples of India, different regions formed. For example, Himalaya formation आप समझ चुके हो, Himalayas formation किया ना, कैसा हुआ, continental convergence, we know how it is formed, it's a young fold mountain, वो सब आप समझ चुके हो. अभी आपने Deccan lava plateau समझ लिया. Right, gradually we will go on understanding different parts. We will understand the climate in India, monsoon in India, cyclone in India, western disturbance in India, सब समझ लेंगे. ठीक है, so that when we come to India, none of this is left. ठीक है, so that's why we will spend slightly more time in physical geography, because when you're doing physical geography, you are also understanding India physical geography simultaneously. ठीक है, so don't think कि sir physical geography की class इतना लंबा हो रहा है, क्योंकि by the time the physical geography will be over, most of India physical is also over. One more thing you learned today, how the cotton soil is formed. आपने समझा ना, उसके लिए आपको basaltic type का black या dark soil चाहिए. ठीक है, तो अगर आपका इथोपियन प्लेट्यू से रिवर ने ले जा करके और नाइल के अराउंड ब्लैक सॉइल बनाया, वेयर कॉटन इज ग्रोन. सो कैन यू टेल मी इन इंडिया वेयर शुड वी हैव ब्लैक सॉइल एंड कॉटन इन इंडिया? कौन सा रीजन, नाम बोलो, उस प्लेट्यू का नाम चाहिए मुझे. डेक्कन लावा प्लेट्यू, सिंपल, यू नो दिस नो. ठीक है, कि वहां पे क्यों बनेगा, आ रहा है समझ में? ठीक है, क्लियर, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ वी ग्रेजुअली गो ऑन, एंड देन वेयर एवर नीडेड वील फाइन ट्यून इट फर्दर. Good enough. So now let us, so with this we come to the end of Mandelblum also. You can write Mandelblum over. This is the complete story of Mandelblum. ठीक है, Mandelblum part over. Right? So intraplate tectonic activity भी हो गया, interplate भी हो गया. With that we come to the end of plate tectonic activity. Now there are 2-3 things which are left, which are volcanism, earthquake, tsunami. ये 3 topics हमें अभी करने हैं. Once we do this, tsunami is not directly related to plate tectonic, but it is caused due to plate tectonic. ठीक है, so we'll see that. Once volcanism and earthquake is done, then you can say plate tectonic is completely over. अभी तक हमने plates के बारे में समझ लिया, right? Just 2 things we have left, these 2. One more, and then lastly you have exogenic और उस पे हम बाद में आएंगे. ठीक है, so now let us put the next heading as volcanoes पहले complete कर लें. ठीक है, it's a smaller topic, right? And you have almost already done it, right? So put the next topic, volcanoes or volcanism. Next topic, volcanism. Mandelblum over, intraplate tectonic activity over. वो जो over होता है वो भी लिख लिया करो. मैं इसलिए बोलता हूँ कि 6-7 महीना वही बात है, साल, 1.5 साल, 2.5 साल, 4 साल बाद जब भी कॉपी खोलोगे तो होता है ना, मतलब 1-2 साल पहले ऐसा तैयारी किया, फिर 1-2 साल थोड़ा लूप में चले गए, फिर से तैयारी करेंगे. इस बार एकदम सारा कॉपी पढ़ डालेंगे, खोला लिखा ही नहीं है कुछ अब पढ़ेंगे क्या? तो इसीलिए जब लिखा रहेगा तो आपको समझ में, अच्छा यहाँ पे खत्म हो गया था, सर ने पेज नंबर के साथ नहीं, वो डायग्राम नंबर के साथ लिखवा दिया. तो मैं इसीलिए लिखवा देता हूँ क्योंकि मेरा तो एक्सपीरियंस है ना, मतलब आप लोग जैसा बहुत बच्चा देखा मैंने, वो बाद में आकर के, सर वो डायग्राम आपने भेजा था एक बार फिर से शेयर कर दो. मुझको भी नहीं पता कौन सा डायग्राम कब भेजा था, बिकॉज दे ऑल्सो कीप रिवाइजिंग. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए मैं लिखवाने में, मतलब ये एटलीस्ट लिखा रहेगा तो आपको फायदा है. ठीक है, सो व्हाट लाइन क्या लिखा, वॉल्केनिज्म से ऊपर, इन मैंटलब्लूम ओवर, इंट्राप्लेट टेक्टोनिक एक्टिविटी ऑल्सो ओवर, ताकि पता चल जाए यहाँ खत्म. ये ना हो कि सर तो भूल ही गए पढ़ाना. ठीक है, फिर बाद में कंप्लेन करता फिरोगे. So volcanism. So what do we mean by volcanism? Should we come to volcanism now? Volcanism, you people already, thankfully by now, because we have discussed the different types of magma, so you already know most of it, some of the formation, and we have to just organize and that's it. So what is volcanism, by the way? Volcanism is eruption of magma या lava? Eruption of magma. जब ऊपर आ गया तो उसको मैग्मा बोलते हैं, उसको लावा बोलते हैं, तो इरप्ट क्या हुआ, मैग्मा. सर जब बाहर आ गया तो उसको बाहर देखते ही बोलेंगे लावा, लेकिन जब वो इरप्ट हो रहा था उस माइक्रो सेकंड में, ठीक है, TS, DS, DT, DS by DT, है ना? So in that DT time, that DS movement with the integral sign, है ना, of 0 to n, ऐसा नहीं बात करना है, मुझे पता है क्या क्या बीमारियां हैं हम सबको, ठीक है? क्या बोलेंगे? सिंपल, एनसीईआरटी में क्या लिखा है या जीसी लियोंग में, इसीलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूँ। मैग्मा कौन सा एनसीईआरटी पढ़ रहे हैं? अच्छा ठीक है, चलो गुड, कोई बात नहीं। सो दीज आर द फाइनर थिंग्स दैट यू हैव टू लुक एट, यू नो, यू हैव टू रिमेंबर। मैग्मा इज द पार्ट टिल इट इज बिलो द ग्राउंड इन द asthenosphere. Why? Because magma has a different density, right? It has a different pressure under which it works. It is solid. Magma is solid. Lava behaves like liquid. इन दोनों में अंतर है। The movement of magma inside the asthenosphere and the movement of lava over the lithosphere are very different. ठीक है, जितना तेजी से लावा सरफेस पे भागता है उतना तेजी से मैग्मा अंदर नहीं मूव करता है। Why? Because it is under the pressure of 5 to 200 kilometers of lithospheric load, है ना? एस्थेनोस्फीयर पे तो बहुत लोड है, तो उतना लोड के अंदर इट इज मूविंग, सो इट इज मूविंग स्लो, right? That's why it behaves like plastic, that's why it is solid, that's why the S waves are not able, they are able to pass through it, वरना उसमें से भी नहीं पास करना चाहिए था अगर वो लिक्विड जैसा है, ठीक है? जबकि लावा जो है वो कैसा होता है? Lava is relatively liquid. It behaves slightly like liquid. It moves faster. It flows faster. ठीक है? So now, coming back, the term volcanism simply means the movement of the rising of magma, right? And when it comes below that surface of the earth, just below the surface of the earth, that's where it starts behaving like lava, and we start calling it as lava. So the movement of lava below or above the surface of क्रस्ट। डू वी गेट इट? थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनो, मैंने क्या बोला? सरफेस ऑफ क्रस्ट बोला मैंने, लैंड नहीं बोला है, ठीक है? कॉन्टिनेंट का बात नहीं है, जस्ट द क्रस्ट। सो इट कैन बी द ओशियानिक क्रस्ट, इट कैन बी द कॉन्टिनेंटल क्रस्ट। द मूवमेंट ऑफ, सो द राइजिंग ऑफ मैग्मा and movement just below or above the crust is known as volcanism. ठीक है? So if we draw it, what do we get? We get something like this. जो आपका पुराना एनसीईआरटी था, right? This is the major difference between the new and the old NCERT. The new NCERT at some places is slightly confusing, क्योंकि उन्होंने कहीं कहीं कॉपी पेस्ट मारा हुआ है। The older NCERT was conceptually considered better. आपने सुना होगा कुछ लोग बोलते हैं older NCERT conceptually better है। वो इसीलिए बेटर है कि वो कई चीज़ों को थोड़ा और क्लैरिटी के साथ बताया है, राइट? बट दे हैव ट्राइड टू सिंप्लीफाई, एडेड मोर कंटेंट, all that in the new NCERT. So you don't have to go to old. I'm already incorporating the things of importance from there. ठीक है? तो जो भी वहाँ थोड़ा मोड़ा और ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट था, कुछ फाइनर डिफरेंसेस थे, वो मैं ऐड करता जा रहा हूँ, ठीक है? प्लीज सी, सपोज दिस इज द लिथोस्फीयर, okay, this is the asthenosphere, this is the magma thing rising, ऐसा, right? So when it is rising, this is the magma, up to here it is magma. When it starts moving in the lithosphere, right, as it keeps rising in the lithosphere, and when it comes to the surface of the lithosphere, this is the surface of the lithosphere or the crust, surface of crust, and if you want you can draw, this is the surface of the crust. So as this magma rises and as it comes here, then it starts moving, sometimes below the surface of the crust and sometimes above. This movement above and below the surface of the crust is what we call as volcanism. Movement of lava below and above surface of crust is called as volcanism. ठीक है? So one difference that you understand here is lava is when it comes close to the surface, magma is when it is deep inside. ठीक है, magma deep inside and lava closer to the surface of the crust. ठीक है, so there you start using the word lava eruption. Okay, good. Right, so volcanism understood. What is volcanism? Movement of the lava above or just below the surface of the crust. Okay, that top surface, and this surface of the crust could be oceanic or continental. Oceanic or continental. So it can have the ocean above it, or it might be just below the atmosphere, like the continental thing. Clear? Now, what do you call this below movement? This movement below, lower one. This lower movement is called as intrusive volcanism. Intrusive, below. And this volcanism above is called as extrusive volcanism. So when the magma comes above the surface of the crust, you call it as extrusive. Extrusive means exterior. When the lava is, sorry, I'm again using the word magma, I think मैंने गलती से बोला यहाँ पे lava. And when the lava is below the surface of the crust, you call it as intrusive volcanism. Clear? So intrusive, extrusive clear है? ठीक है, जब तक जमीन का नीचे नीचे हो रहा है, you don't get to see it coming out. You call it as intrusive volcanism. The moment you start seeing it on the surface, you call it as extrusive. ठीक है? So you have two types of volcanism, intrusive and extrusive. Is this clear? आगे बढ़े, right? So first we'll take the intrusive volcanoes and then we'll take the extrusive volcanoes, right? So the intrusive first. इतना तो आपने डायग्राम पे लिख लिया है और इसी से आई होप यू हैव आल्सो रिटन इन योर कॉपी, सो आई डोंट नीड टू डिक्टेट. चलेगा ना? राइट, गुड. सो राइट डाउन intrusive volcanism. Intrusive volcanism. अच्छा, volcanism and volcanism are same. VUL or VOL, they are almost the same thing. Almost मतलब बहुत फाइनर डिफरेंस है, but we won't get into that. ठीक है, not for your syllabus, right? So volcanism and volcanism, both the words are same. अगर volcanism लिखा होगा तो ये मत सोचना सर ये क्या है, ये वही है. ठीक है? So intrusive, actually volcanism is a slightly older term and it's slightly more, it was slightly more comprehensive in terms of a few more aspects, but वो सब हमें ज़रूरत नहीं है. So intrusive volcanism, when we say intrusive volcanism, right, what do we mean? Let us see. Or let me take this diagram पहला ऐसा, right? So please see this. In this diagram, somewhere here you have the surface of the, let me put a yellowish line, थोड़ा clear हो जाएगा आप लोग को. This is the surface of the earth. ठीक है, this yellow line, this is the surface of the earth. So anything above it is above the ground and anything below it is below the ground. ठीक है? So when you see the region below the ground, when you cut it vertically and you see, you mostly find that inside the earth the regions are mostly horizontally stratified. There are different layers. As you go vertically down, there are near horizontal layers, not exactly horizontal but near horizontal. So they might be slightly tilted, then again flat, and something like this. Okay? So you have different layers because that's how material has sedimented and formed. So there are different. Can you see these layers? Diagram में दिख रहा होगा आप सबको. ठीक है? And the magma is trying to rise through it. Right? Now as the magma tends to rise through it, if the magma tends to spread, because we have to talk of intrusive first, so we'll talk of how the magma spreads below. When the magma tries to spread, it can spread in two ways. Right? This fine difference is not given clearly in your NCERT, but I want you to understand. One is the magma can spread between layers, like sandwich. जैसा bread के बीच में sandwich होता है ना? So all the material is between the two breads. देखा है आपने? है ना? जैसा आपने सैंडविच बनाया होगा घर पे, तो कैसे करते हैं? पहला एक लेयर, then you fill something, but then above that another bread, then maybe fill something, then another bread. If you are making a 3 or 4 bread sandwich, suppose. ठीक है? So ये वैसा है. So one is where the magma, if I use the word magma, don't confuse. वो गलती से निकल रहा है मुंह से. But what I mean is lava only. So when the lava is spreading between layers, right, that is called as horizontal formations. Sandwiched formation, right, between. Whereas the magma might also rise through layers. One is between layers, the other is through layers. Through layer का मतलब क्या है? You have the whole thing and then something passes through it. You make a sandwich और उसका बीच में आपने चक्कू मार दिया, ठीक है, कट करने के लिए. तो the चक्कू moves through layers, है ना? So if the magma is also going through layers, जैसा आपने अगर वो रोड साइड बर्गर कभी खाया होगा, तो बर्गर लेकर के उसमें टूथपिक घुसा देते हैं. देखा है लोकल बर्गर में, है ना? तो जो लोकल बर्गर का टूथपिक है वो वर्टिकल फॉर्मेशन है, और उसका बीच में जो टिक्की है और टमाटो है और जो कुछ भी है वो सब हॉरिजॉन्टल फॉर्मेशन है. आज जाके बर्गर खाना है टूथपिक वाला, ठीक है, उसमें बोलना है डाइक सिल. Okay, so I hope you get it. So these are vertical. So when you see the intrusive volcanic formation, there are just two types, either vertical or horizontal. So all intrusive volcanic formations can be grouped into horizontal formations, vertical form. That's it. उसका सिवाय कुछ है ही नहीं, उसी का टाइप से दिन. ठीक है? So vertical and horizontal formations, right? Horizontal formations and vertical formations. So when you see the when you see the intrusive volcanic formations, you have these two type of formations. ठीक है? Now which are the simple horizontal formation, which are the simple vertical formation should we see? अभी वो देख लें. इतना लिख लिया? Written? Now please see. Can you see these vertical ones like this? They are called as dikes. D-I-K-E or D-Y-K-E, दोनों spellings हैं, right? So the vertical formation, there is just one vertical formation, dike, और कुछ नहीं होता. Intrusive और कुछ नहीं होता, right? So in intrusive formations you have just one vertical formation, dike, that's it. Horizontal you have more, we'll see, but vertical सिर्फ एक ही है, right? So should we write? वो लिख भी देते हैं. Dike, I have given you the other spelling, right? The diagram gave you the other one, so you can write both the spellings. D-I-K-E, D-Y-K-E, दोनों ही हैं. ठीक है? That's the only vertical formation that you have. And it will, what is the characteristic? It passes through different horizontal layers, right? वो लिख लीजिए. The dike is an intrusive formation. Dike is an intrusive formation. When the lava passes, dike is an intrusive formation when the lava passes through, underline the word through. Lava passes through more than one sedimentary rock layers, more than one sedimentary within bracket horizontal or near horizontal. This is more important. Sedimentary within bracket horizontal or near horizontal. Horizontal or near horizontal, bracket close, layer below the earth surface. Horizontal or near horizontal layer below the earth surface. Okay, clear? Right? Then next one is, so when it is passing through, then the second one, please see, which is the simplest formation that you see here in terms of horizontal. Can you see the sill? ये दिख रहा है? Sill. What is the characteristic of the sill? It is always between two layers. It is never through a layer. दिख रहा है ना? It is just like being sandwiched. Right? So then, so the simplest horizontal is sill. वो भी लिख लीजिए. Sill. Right? Sill are intrusive. Sill, intrusive volcanic formation. Intrusive volcanic formation. Always between two layers. Always between two layers. Full stop. They are the simplest. They are the simplest flat formations. Because then I'll give you the other formations after this. Okay, simplest flat formations. Then come to the GC-Leong diagram. Right? So now please see this. This is the GC-Leong diagram. थोड़ा सा complicated है इसीलिए शुरू में नहीं दिखाया था. Now I'm showing, right? Slightly complicated, but it's easy to understand. In this diagram, the horizontal layers are not exactly horizontal; they are near horizontal. You can see they are also turning, but they are, you know, slightly wavy, but they are horizontal. Can you see this? Now, in this, which is the dike? This one is the dike. Why? Because it is passing through layers. Can you see? है ना? ये वाला dike है. Then this one is also like a dike. Why? Passing through layers. Can you see this? ये सारा passing through layers है. They are cutting through more than one. Whereas this one is a sill between two layers. So this is the simplest one. You have already written. Now there are four more formations which you have to write here and their characteristic. क्या difference है? Because that's the prelims question. Or that could also be the mains question. Explain the different types of volcanic formations. So if they ask you different types, then you have to say the intrusive and the extrusive both. वहाँ लिखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? So which are they? Sill is written. Then the second one is called as lopolith. Lopolith. So you can write under that horizontal formation. The second formation is lopolith. LOPO. Lopo. There will be many more formations, but I'm giving you only the ones given in GC-Leong and NCERT. उतना ही करना है. उसके beyond जाना नहीं है हमें. ठीक है? So lopolith. What is the characteristic of lopolith? लिखा हुआ है वहाँ पे. Saucer shaped. Pan type. The way you have a saucer pan in which we cook food, ऐसा थोड़ा flat होता है ना, या flying saucer से खेला होगा आपने बचपन में, वो थोड़ा सा bent होता है sides में, वैसा, ठीक है? So, saucer shaped horizontal formation, we call it as lopolith. Clear? So this is just, मतलब इतना ही है, इसके beyond हमें नहीं जाना है. This is something that you have to remember at the time of prelims or mains. Just do and then forget. मुझे भी ये याद नहीं रहता है कौन सा लोपोलिथ कौन सा है और लैकोलिथ कौन सा है. I always have to look in the diagram despite of having taught so many times because it's a factual thing. ठीक है, तो facts हम भूल सकते हैं. That's okay. वो सिर्फ prelims के time रटना है. Then coming to next one, phacolith. What is the characteristic? They are anticline and syncline type. Anticline मतलब wave का upper part. When you have a sine wave, the upper part of the wave is called as anticline. The lower part of the wave is called as syncline. ठीक है? So when the formation is between the layers, but then you have a upper part. Can you see this? Convex. So this is anticline, and this is concave syncline. ठीक है? So these formations we call as phacolith. right? So the third formation is, first is sill, second was lopolith, है ना, और third one phacolith. What is the character? They are anticline and syncline type. Anticline and syncline type. Clear? All right. Then the fourth one, should I tell you? हाँ, अगला देखें. Then the fourth one is called as laccolith. Laccolith. What is the importance of this? This is dome shaped. I'll write. आप भी वही लिख लीजिए. Dome shaped. You have domes? ऐसा? So it has a dome shape. Right? It's a relatively big dome shaped thing. We call it as laccolith. And this is also horizontal because you can see, though it is dome shaped, but it is within two layers. It has not cut the layer. Can you see this? और दूसरा layer को it has risen, but it has not cut it. Right? So laccolith. And then the last one is, दिख रहा है कुछ? Batholith. This is the last formation. Right? It is the biggest of all intrusive formations. Can you see how big a batholith is? और नीचे देखिए, वो पूरा batholith है, एक ही. Right? So batholith are the biggest horizontal formations. Biggest horizontal formation. We call them as shield-like. Right? Shield-like. We call them as shield-like. But they are not shield volcano as such. They are shield-like. Okay, shield-like. Right? For example, the Canadian shield. The Canadian shield. वो example भी लिखना है आपको. For example, the Canadian shield. Canadian shield, which got exposed. Canadian shield, which got exposed. Canadian shield, which got exposed when all got exposed when all of the upper layers were eroded and removed. Eroded and got removed. Can you see this Canadian shield written? ये नॉर्थ अमेरिका का अपर पार्ट में है, अराउंड द हडसन बे. वो बड़ा सा लिखा है ऐसा, दिख रहा है? The whole thing. Right? So that region was a batholith earlier. It was below ground. ठीक है? Gradually the top sedimentary layers got removed and finally only the shield remained. So if you go to this region, you will find this to be completely rocky and it seems like a monolith rock. Almost a single rock layer spreading over hundreds of kilometers. Like that batholith. ठीक है? Right? So this is one example where a batholith shield has been exposed to the ground. Why? Because the upper regions have been removed. Clear? तो ऐसा होता है batholith. Clear है? Okay. Good enough. So with this we are done with, that's it. यही है सारा. Right? So we are done with all the intrusive formation. कितना हुआ horizontal formations? 5 and vertical? That's it. Intrusive volcanism is over. ठीक है? Now we come to extrusive volcanism. Extrusive volcanism वो भी कर लेते हैं. 6 मिनट है, वेस्ट क्यों करेंगे? ठीक है? So when you talk of extrusive volcanism, extrusive volcanism, more than half the work you have already done. ठीक है? तो इसीलिए कुछ ज़्यादा है नहीं. आज हमने सुबह ही अभी थोड़ी देर पहले सारा कर लिया था, काफ़ी सारा पार्ट. One was basic, ठीक है. So you can write the extrusive volcanic formations are, first write before you make this. Extrusive volcanic formations are grouped on the basis of, extrusive volcanic formations are grouped on the basis of, grouped on the basis of the type of magma, and hence the related formations, and hence the related formations. ठीक है. So in basic you had less and more basic. ठीक है. कौन सा था इसका पहला वाला? We call it as rising convection. बस लिखते जाना है यहाँ पे, because there isn't too much that I have to explain, right? So rising convection, what does it form? Rising convection क्या बनाता है? It gives you just one formation, ना? MOR. That's it. Right? Then the less one, what do we call? Mantle plume. What does it give you? Oceans, oceanic crust. What does it give you? Over oceanic crust. It gives you the second type of formation, shield volcanoes. ठीक है? Shield volcanoes. Then over the continental crust, it gives you sometimes shield volcano. तो इसीलिए मैं इसको थर्ड टाइप नहीं लिख रहा हूं, because it's the same. Shield volcano either over the ocean floor or over the, right? And mostly it gives you basalt. This is the third type. Basalt, lava province or flood basalt province. ठीक है? Clear? Then you come to the fourth one. Sorry, next one, acidic magma. In acidic, how many types do we have? You again have three types. Which is the one? Again, less acidic, most acidic, moderately acidic. Right? Less, more and moderate. तीन टाइप का इसमें. Right? Which is the less acidic? So this is like less salty, more medium salty and maximum salty water. बात किया था हमने. ठीक है? So which is the less one? This one we call as fourth, ash and cinder cone. Cinder cone, ash and cinder cone. ठीक है? The moderate one we call as strato volcano, also called as composite cone volcano. Ash or cinder cone was the fourth one. The fifth one is stratovolcano, also called as composite cone volcano. And the sixth one, the most acidic, is called as caldera cone volcano. The caldera cone volcano. ठीक है? Now, if we have to draw the diagrams of the three, what will they look like? Okay, let me write somewhere here else. Less than 400 meters. This one. Okay, so the ash and cinder cone are generally less than 400 meter high. They are not very high. They are vertical, but they are less high. How much? Less than 400 meter, right? So they are ash and cinder cone. The strato volcano or composite cone volcano are the highest volcanic peaks in any region. Whether you go to Aconcagua, Chimborazo, Cotopaxi, right? Kilimanjaro, Mount Fujiyama, कहीं पे भी देखो. Wherever you find the highest peaks in any continent are mostly highest volcanic peaks, not the other one. Highest volcanic peaks are always which type? Stratovolcano or composite cone volcano, right? And the most acidic, most का लाइफ हमेशा जो भी होता है ना, most किसी भी फील्ड में उसका लाइफ हमेशा थोड़ा सा एक्सट्रीम टाइप होता है. So this most one is extreme, so it is an extremist volcano, right? In volcanoes also it is a terrorist, self-destructive extremist, और वही वो अपने साथ करता भी है, right? It is so destructive that it blows away itself. ठीक है, वो खुद को ही फोड़ डालता है. You get it, right? So normally the caldera cone, which are the most acidic volcano, they are also the most extremely, you can say, explosive also, to the extent that they blow away themselves, right? And when they blow away themselves on the top, they will have a hollow left. ठीक है, only a hollow will be left. Initially in that hollow there will be magma. Gradually the magma will cool down, then it will turn into a lake, right? Lakes on top of volcanic mountains. We call such lakes as crater volcanoes, right? Or volcanic crater lakes. उनको हम volcanic crater lakes बोलते हैं. ठीक है, and a big crater is called as a caldera. So what is a caldera? A big crater. ठीक है, how big it can be, right? Though I'll show you a crater only, क्योंकि कैल्डेरा का एक सिंगल फोटो रेफरेंस के साथ नहीं मिला मुझे. So see here, this दिख रहा है? This is a crater, right? A volcanic crater where just a small dot of reddish material, volcanic material is left, the rest is already solidified. ठीक है, तो आपको इसमें थोड़ा मैग्मा दिख रहा होगा कहीं पे. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे इसमें दो जगह मैग्मा दिख रहा है, एक ये और एक ये मैग्मा नहीं है, ये दो इंसान है. हेलमेट लगा के गया है चेक करने के लिए, एज इफ कि वो हेलमेट इनको बचा लेगा, बट सिर्फ. ठीक है, so these are two people standing. I took this diagram because here you get a reference of how big a crater can be. This is just a crater, this is not a caldera. Calderas are bigger. ठीक है, is this clear? Right? So hopefully you understand what a caldera cone is. ठीक है, now this is one classification. So this is the classification of volcano on the basis of type of magma. There is one more classification given in GC Leong on the basis of the frequency of eruption: extinct, dormant and active. ठीक है, so there is another classification. How many of you don't have GC Leong? खरीदा नहीं है, पैसा ले चुके हैं, उसको उड़ा चुके हैं, खरीदा नहीं है. होता है ऐसा, मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन ऑफ फंड्स इसी को बोलते हैं. ब्यूरोक्रेट बनते ही सबसे पहले लाइफ में यही सीखना है, हाउ टू मिस अप्रोप्रिएट फंड्स एंड देन हाउ टू फाइनली अकाउंट फॉर इट ऑल्सो. उसका भी अकाउंट सही होना चाहिए. तो कितनों का मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन ऑफ जीसी लियोंग फंड हो चुका है? तो जीसी लियोंग खरीदना ही नहीं था सर, हमने पहले ही डिसाइड किया हुआ था, फंड ही नहीं मंगाया. कितने के पास है जीसी लियोंग? चलो ऐसा पूछने दो. ऑलमोस्ट एवरीवन. ठीक है, तो आप सबको एक काम करना है, यू हैव टू गो बैक एंड राइट दैट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ इरप्शन व्हाट इज द क्लासिफिकेशन गिवन इन द वॉल्केनो चैप्टर. ठीक है, वॉल्केनो का चैप्टर इज चैप्टर नंबर 2 और 3, कोई एक है, चेक कर लो. ठीक है, एंड नाउ यू कैन ऑल्सो रीड द चैप्टर नंबर 3 ऑफ एनसीईआरटी. जो पार्ट मैंने आपको पहले छोड़ा था volcano and earthquake. So please read that part also now. Okay, can you do this? There are many volcanic peaks given in JC Leong, not in NCRT. NCRT doesn't give you even a single peak. JC Leong gives you many peaks. I want you to see them and locate them in your map also. वो भी आपको खुद करना है. This is the interesting work that you have to do, because most of the peaks given in your NCRT are the highest peaks of the region. ठीक है, वो सारा का सारा आपका स्ट्रैटो वॉल्केनो टाइप का पीक है मोस्टली. ठीक है, सो कैन यू डू दिस? इतना तो कर सकते हैं ना. थोड़ा पढ़ो, आप लोग भी बुक निकालो, थोड़ा देखो, एटलीस्ट इतना पार्ट पढ़ना है. नॉट द होल चैप्टर बट एटलीस्ट दोज वॉल्केनो टाइप्स एंड ऑल, विच पीक इज वेयर, विच कॉन्टिनेंट, दोज काइंड ऑफ मैचिंग क्वेश्चंस यूपीएससी आस्क. वसूवियस कहाँ पे है, किलीमंजारो कहाँ पे है. सो दैट थिंग आई वांट यू टू डू, बिकॉज दो नेम्स आर ऑलरेडी गिवन इन जीसी लियोंग. कर सकते हैं? ठीक है, वेरी गुड. दैट्स हाउ आई अवॉइड द मैप इन द क्लास. वो मैं भी करा सकता हूँ, 1 घंटा में मैं आपको मैप दिखाता रहूंगा. और वो 1 घंटा में व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज दैट पीपल जस्ट कीप टर्निंग द पेजेस. ठीक है, क्योंकि आई विल आस्क यू टू ब्रिंग द मैप. यू, सम ऑफ यू विल फाइंड इट, सम ऑफ यू विल नॉट फाइंड इट, सम ऑफ यू विल नॉट फाइंड द पेज इटसेल्फ, क्योंकि सबका एटलस अलग अलग है. ठीक है, सो आई हैव स्टॉप डूइंग द मैप एक्सरसाइजेस इन द क्लास. आई जनरली एक्सपेक्ट, आई विल टेल यू द सोर्स, go back and do this exercise yourself. That will help you also, because in finding something you find more. अगर मैं देता जाऊंगा तो आपको उतना ही मिलेगा जितना मैंने दिया है. खुद ढूंढोगे तो कुछ एडिशनल और ढूंढ लोगे. ठीक है, रेफरेंसेस बनाइएगा, कुछ समझ में आएगा. सो कैन यू डू दिस? वेरी गुड. सो दैट्स इट. थैंक यू. लेट्स एंड द क्लास. मैम, एनी मेजर ऑनलाइन थिंग दैट यू वांट मी टू टेक अप? नथिंग? Yeah, good. क्या? सॉरी, ये हटा के बोलो, मुझे सुनाई नहीं पड़ा. जूम आउट. ओके, यस यस. ठीक है, ठीक है. Yeah, topic for the next class is earthquakes, ma'am, because these 2 topics were left. So first we'll cover earthquake and then tsunami. Hopefully that much if we are able to cover, then we'll see. No major doubts. Things are clear. Yeah, that's it. Ma'am, handout for... we have one handout, I think, which we have uploaded in RB... दिस इज 2 मैम. RB2 है आपका. सो RB3 में है मैम. RB3 में देयर इज अ हैंडआउट ऑफ प्लेट टेक्टोनिक का तो नहीं है. प्लेट टेक्टोनिक वाला हैंडआउट इज डन. देयर इज अ जियोमॉर्फिक प्रोसेसेस हैंडआउट व्हिच वी माइट स्टार्ट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. जियोमॉर्फिक प्रोसेसेस. यस मैम, यस मैम. थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू डियर ऑनलाइन पीपल. नो मेजर डाउट. सो दैट्स इट.